Clint.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not. Time for
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome everybody to the Ignition Zone pre-race show here presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. Excited to have you along tonight for what should be another thrilling night of CIL Garage Shop action here on YouTube. Should be a good one. Alongside me tonight is everyone's favorite CIL analyst, Brad Daniels, and I'm Alex Gagnon. Brad, how you doing tonight as we go to what could potentially be one of your favorite tracks on the schedule?
I'm doing great, Alex. I mean, here at Phoenix, it's always a pleasure to not only watch it, but race it. It's such a unique track. I think, like we said all season, you know, a lot can happen here. A lot of different stuff can happen here in the CIL, and I think this is a good pairing that we've seen in the recent history of the CIL.
Yeah, there's been some stellar races here at Phoenix, but, speaking of stellar races, let's take a look at the schedule that we've had so far. This has truly been a pretty quality season from start to finish, and we are getting toward the finish. Tonight is the first race of the round of 8, so it is becoming crunch time. You see the schedule there. Phoenix, the third, the last race of the season, and the first of the round of 8. The round of 12 has been concluded, and this Phoenix and Bristol stand in the way of the 8 playoff drivers from trying to qualify to the championship race at Vegas. And for those outside the playoffs, Brad, a quality opportunity tonight to try and play spoiler against some of that playoff field.
Absolutely. I think Phoenix offers so much with, it is the longer of the 2 races in this round of 8. So I think this track can hold a lot more unpredictability and a lot more openness for a lot of these drivers. Bristol can always be a crazy race, and we'll see that next week. But I think we saw back at Darlington, these drivers are able to produce some quality green flag runs and some great racing under conditions that we might not even expect.
Yeah, and you mentioned that race last week at Darlington, so let's talk about that for just a moment while we have some time. I mean, obviously that race, textbook from Ball State, Muhammad Alif, Daniel Nanny, wire to wire, led all 150 of the laps. Alif led 81, Nanny led 69, and it was just dominant up front. Alif won in a situation where he needed to win, held off his teammate, and as far as Darlington races go, up front they had it settled for the most part, but throughout the field there was a lot of cars fighting for position, fighting for that chance to advance. I think to the end of that race, that great battle with Brandon Schulenberger, Jake Cummings, I believe Jared Kaler, and Edward Sanchez. There was a lot happening there and the closing couple laps. But we go from a track as uniquely designed for its high banks and tight corners in Darlington to a track that is also uniquely designed, but for the lack of banking and the amount of open expanse you get to travel, it, in a weird way, is almost a design opposite to the way Darlington's laid out.
Yeah, we were pretty much saying in the pre-race show last week where you couldn't touch the apron nearly at Darlington, and this race, it is so important to use that dog leg, the apron, everything about this, turn 1 to turn 4. It has 4 different corners technically, and really it's going to test all of the patience of the drivers through the entire race to make sure they're hitting their marks and making sure they're not wrecking through that dog leg.
Yeah, and that is easier said than done. That car can bottom out if you don't catch it at the right point. We saw it happen in the NASCAR race on Sunday to Ty Gibbs. It bottomed out at the wrong place. He shot up the track. Happened in the Xfinity race, I think, too, on Saturday. But definitely something the drivers are going to have to keep an eye on out there because it is certainly something they have to consider. But let's take a look at who is fighting in the playoffs here in the round of 8. The 8 drivers who advanced. That is the points from the day prior. Or the race prior. Apologies, producer Christian. I may have pulled in the wrong point somewhere. Thought I had the right one updated. Well, we are going to see if we can get that sorted, but the 8 drivers who are in the postseason at the moment, some of them surprises, some of them not so much. Coming into tonight, Muhammad Alif, courtesy of his win, obviously locked in as his regular season champion, Drew Williams. He's joined by Jake Cummings, Mario Miranda, Edward Sanchez, Lucas Moody, Jared Kaler, and Clint Halterman, the 8th and final driver of the group. And, Brad, you kind of look at these 8, a couple of familiar faces, a couple of teammates in UNC, a couple of Ball State teammates, and then, a couple of surprise entries in there. If you ask me, guys like Lucas Moody, Edward Sanchez, names that you wouldn't have necessarily pulled out of the hat to start the year, but they have been phenomenal all season long.
Yeah, we've seen, Edward Sanchez has been all over the front of the pack pretty much everywhere we've been in this second half. And as you can see here, as the updated points.
There we go.
Muhammad Alif is starting off on the right foot here from Ball State, and his teammate Lucas Moody is right below the cut line for that final 4 positions for the championship at Las Vegas. So, we have a lot of great talented drivers here in this top 8, all battling it out. And you can see the UNC Charlotte drivers rounding it out down there in 7th and 8th. Have to have a little bit of work before next week to try and set themselves up for Bristol.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way you look at this because, regular season champion Drew Williams currently sits below the cut line. He won the regular season title, automatically put him in the round of 8, but now has to try and figure out a way to get up and above that cut line. It's going to be easier said than done tonight with how stiff the competition is going to be. But, just outside the top 8, you see a couple of the folks who got eliminated last week. Andrew Stagey entered the no fray, and then back to Bryce Kobler and John Hagan. All incredible drivers in their own right, just not to be this season. And then from there, obviously, the rest of the field kind of fighting for, points to try and improve their standing as best as possible. But really, at this point, a lot of the eyes turn to that top 8.
And we'll be watching them all night. Definitely making note if any of them get into any trouble, anything on pit road. So, we've seen Muhammad Alif and Jared Kaler have success here at Phoenix before. So really, if anybody in this top 8 wants to, make their way into Vegas without having to worry about Bristol, which personally I would definitely want to do, I think they would have to show their skill tonight.
Yeah, golden opportunity here to avoid having to put a lot of stress on Bristol. And we'll talk to one of our championship contenders here in just a second. We'll pull in one of our playoff 8 drivers. Going to chat for a second with UNC Charlotte's Clint Halterman, who just barely snuck in last week and is the 8th of 8. But that gap is only 6 points, so it is very much anyone's ballgame. Going to bring him on in. Hey there, Clint. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, you made it on to the round of 8, and now you find yourself here at Phoenix with a chance to try and fight your way to the championship race in a couple weeks' time. First question, I guess, is how are you feeling tonight here at Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. It hasn't been exactly an ideal season. I feel like I've only had one race that's been clean where either I haven't been taken out or it's been something that I've done to take myself out of a race. But yeah, somehow I've managed to get here to the round of 8 with no playoff points. But I consider Phoenix to be one of my best tracks, or at least my best ovals. And I kind of see this as a really important race because Bristol is going to be chaotic. We know that. So really, I'm just looking at Phoenix. This is my chance to stack some points. If I can get a win, that'd be great, but it's really hard to win in this series. So I'm looking, hopefully, just to... it's hard to put a positional goal, I guess. I think I just want to have a clean race. That's the main thing. It's been hard. That's been hard for me to have this year. So I'm just gonna try and hopefully stay out of other people's way, stay out of my own way, and just get out of here for a solid finish.
And Clint, looking forward, like you said, we're going to Bristol, which might be heavily chaotic. Do you consider yourself a great short track racer, especially in these next gen cars, or is it something that we might, see some strategy play into your day to day?
I think at some short tracks, yeah, I would consider myself a pretty solid driver, but Bristol is my worst track. I think it's easily my worst oval. I have not been able to figure that track out. So that's why I really am putting a lot of emphasis on this race. A track I know I can do well at, a track that's, I think, going to be less chaotic and a little bit more predictable. I think it's going to be really important for me to come out of here with a good result. Because the combination of Bristol being Bristol and me being pretty sucky there, it doesn't make a great recipe to to make the championship 4 if I don't have a good race here. So, yeah, you never know at Bristol. Sometimes just surviving can get you a good finish. But I don't want to have to rely on that to try and make the championship 4. I want to have a good race here. Hopefully, maybe top 5 in the stage, top 5 in the race, something like that. That would be excellent. That'd be a great boost going into Bristol.
Yeah, and obviously, if that is a point of concern tonight, obviously the golden opportunity to get after it. Getting away from, the playoff hunt here just a little bit. I've got a two-parter, not at all related. So.
All right.
First question for you. This is the actual serious question as far as obviously, you get to run out there week after week with a couple teammates. Your teammate Jared Kaler also running for a championship this year, and then the two of you guys have Alex Finity out there from time to time as well. What is it like having teammates that are out in the field with you and running similar to where you're at in the field? It's not like one person's all the way up at the front, the other person's all the way at the back. Does that having pretty even speed drive you to do better, or is it just a matter of, do you get sick of having to battle your teammate all the time around the track?
No, it's great, honestly. Especially me and Jared Kaler. We are now roommates. I know a couple seasons ago I had another Jared as a roommate, but me and Kaler are now roommates. So we can kind of talk race together, and do practice together, stuff like that. It's really nice having a teammate like him who I can kind of has a benchmark, really. I know if I'm as quick as Kaler or close to being as quick as Kaler, then I'm in a good spot because he's really fast. And it's also good to have Alex he's pretty new, but one thing that we relied on a lot is at the super speedways he's been able to figure out qualifying. Something with that he's been super helpful. I believe he got P2 at Dega qualifying, and that's been crucial because we've had the most participation at the super speedways, and they're most volatile with qualifying. So having his knowledge of how to do a qualifying lap has helped us make the field, which is easier to miss out on with how qualifying is. So it's nice having the teammates like that running up towards the front, but being able to battle them because I know how they're gonna race, and they're respectful and they're gonna race me clean and stuff like that. And it's nice to get some more data points, I guess, and know where I stack up going into the race on Monday nights.
One last question for you, Clint. Here, I mean, this might be a little off topic, but if you had to describe your season in a movie, what would it be?
Oh gosh, what's a movie where nothing's gone right? Just everything's gone haywire.
Gravity, I suppose.
That's a
That
good
movie
one.
kind of
Yeah.
starts with just falling apart, and then the entire time is figuring that out.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I swear I've had literally one clean race, and that was Kansas. Every other race I've been wrecked in, or I did something else. Like at Watkins Glen, I took out Lucas and got myself a penalty. Or at Nashville, I missed a shift on the restart running second, then I burnt my tires up and then started falling out the field. But in other races, I've been caught up in other mess. Like at Auto Club, I was like 3 laps in, running 5th or 6th, I got wrecked. Then I spent the entire first stage, got my damage fix right as the stage hit. First lap of the final stage, I got wrecked again. So it's been that kind of season where I'm kind of shocked that I'm even here because I've had like 3 top 10s or something like that. I've been running pretty good, but it's been hard to get the results. Like last week, I was running 6th, and then me and Edward made a little bit of contact, and then I barely hit the wall, and then I got a meatball flag for it. It's just been nothing seems to be going right this season, but I'm still somehow here, and I'm just hoping the luck will eventually turn for me.
Well, one final question here before we let you go. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out here before you get ready to strap in tonight, Clint?
Yeah, I want to, of course, thank the Charlotte guys, Jared and Alex, the OWR guys. We've got three in the final 8 for the OWR, so we're hoping be nice to get all 3 of us in there. But anything can happen, so we're hoping to at least get at least one driver in the final 4. That'd be nice to compete for a championship. And then I want to thank y'all, of course, for putting on these races every week.
Alrighty, well, Clinton, thank you so much for dropping by. Best of luck to you tonight, and hopefully something turns your way here, and we'll have the opportunity to chat with you at the end of this thing.
All right. I hope that too. Thanks.
And that was Clint Halterman, UNC Charlotte's driver of the 077, one of the 8 playoff contenders here tonight, and very candid about the fact that this season's been a struggle for him, but he continues to find a way to persevere and advance. You got to respect that because that is not easy to do. But with that, we are going to step away for a quick commercial break. When we come back, the official start of tonight's race from Phoenix. You won't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. During the day, out here in Phoenix, the sun's blazing. But tonight, the stakes are even hotter. The drivers have battled their way through countless challenges to reach this point in the season, and now, for 8 of them, one more hurdle to try and clear, to try and advance to the championship 4. This is the first race of the round of 8, and this is tonight's race, the Rollo Tony's 150, powered by the Garage Shop here at Phoenix. Along with co-commentator and former CIL driver and CIL Phoenix legend, in my opinion, Brad Daniels, along with producer Christian Hill, I'm Alex Gagnon, welcoming you in for tonight's coverage of the 11th round of the 2024 Garage Shop College Cup Series season. And Brad, we have arrived here at Phoenix, and first of 2 playoff races, and it's not often Phoenix gets to be the more calm one of the 2. But here we are, because Bristol is next week, so to the point you were making in the pre-show, I feel like a lot of drivers need to capitalize on this opportunity tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, this race is going to be chaotic only because really this dogleg at the start-finish line offers so many cars to go, 4 or 5 wide, just blazing through that infield. After that reconfiguration, it just got crazy. And I mean, to your point, Bristol next week, even more unpredictable. And I think we've seen in the past that this track has offered a lot of great racing for the CIL and a lot of chaotic moments.
That it has, and we'll talk a little bit more about Phoenix here in just a second, but before we do, I want to thank all the people who make this series possible. First off, not only our season-long sponsor, but also tonight's race sponsor, the Garage Shop. Thank you so much to them. The Garage Shop is a race car fabrication company that builds some of the fastest and most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles. Their mission is simple: honor the racers who came before us and put our competitors behind us. You can visit thegarageshop200.com for more information. Big shout out to them for being our season-long partner here, but also the sponsor of tonight's race, the Rollo Tony's 150. Next up, ECAC Esports. ECAC Esports exists to add great value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate athletics. Intercollegiate esports, I should say. The McConey Setup Shop, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more. The official setup shop of eNASCAR and of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Subscriptions is available as low as $8 a month. Visit McConeySetupShop.com today to subscribe. And the Whiplash SimCams, an iRacing and esports media group specializing in racing and team graphics, iRacing camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. A big thank you to Whiplash as well. But with that, Brad, you mentioned the reconfiguration here at Phoenix. Let's talk a little bit about that, because when they redid this place, they did a huge shakeup here in the way this track was laid out. And there's not another track on the schedule like it. Nowhere else can you go 5, 6, 7 wide right off the top of the green flag.
Yeah, there used to be grass somewhat in the infield, and now it's a complete asphalt, everything like that on the inside of the apron. So as you can see here, technically there's 4 turns here. It looks reminiscent of somewhat of a Pocono with only 3 turns, but there are 4 turns here at Phoenix. And as you can see at the bottom of your screen right now, there is that dog leg, and it will play an important factor in qualifying, in the race, and everything in between.
Yeah, it really will. You'll see a lot of people go down there, especially off the drop of the green flag. A lot of people drop down to the dog leg, that apron part in between the start-finish line and leading into turn 1. A critical area to try and shorten this track as much as possible and try and make this lap time as fast as possible. 1 mile track here, even with the dog leg, little 4-turn oval, opened in 1964. Pit road speed, 45 miles an hour. Also with this reconfiguration, a really weird pit road to get on and off of. The entrance to pit road is off the exit of turn 2, and you don't exit pit road until after the dog leg. So most of this track is pit road when you have to go down pit lane. So if you have to pit at the suboptimal time, you are going to lose a ton of track position. And the first time we saw this track here in the CIL, Season 2, the spring season of 2021. We've now been here, I believe, 5 or 6 times. So we continue to make our way back here time after time. It's just a fun place to race. And lot of fun races we've had here over the years. Brad, when you think of Phoenix and you think of the way this is laid out, you know, we talked about Darlington with how you can't really set up a car to be good at both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 at Darlington. Do you feel that Phoenix is the same way?
I think that really Phoenix has a very unique structure. I don't think as unique as Darlington, but I think you can set up a car to definitely take your, take as much of the track as you need to.
Yeah, and I think, especially with this race being at night, you're going to need to find grip somewhere. The track temp not going to be that high. Got to find a way to suction on down. But let's take a look here. We keep talking about the track. Let's see what a lap looks like here at Phoenix. Get an idea of what it's like to run here, and we'll jump on board with our pre-race interview, Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte.
So Clint qualified 5th position as it stands. And you'll see the heater of the lap, obviously using all that he can of that dogleg and just basically having to use that outside of turn 1 and 2. I mean, this track, it seems to have a weird line at times. You kind of run the middle-ish to the lower half of the track. You can see he gets a little loose off of turn 2 there, but doesn't hit the wall. And then turn 3 is just, it honestly to me seems like a blind corner, especially when you're behind somebody, because that, I don't know if it's called the pit wall or what it is on the inside there, but it sticks out a little bit more than, any other track.
Yeah, it can get you if you're not paying attention. The other thing that can get you if you're not careful, a lot of drivers will run the apron in 1 and 2, and you see the sand barrels on the exit or the entrance of pit lane there. That actually swallowed up the pace car this weekend. Hopefully, the iRacing pit car not going to have the same issue, but it is just really tough to get around this place because there are just random odds and ends that kind of stick out. You see Clint Halterman there doing a good job maximizing his time on the dog leg, trying to shorten this track up as much as possible. He did a mighty fine job of it, might I add. Looks like he'll be qualifying inside the top 10 in a race that, by his own admission, he really needs to perform well at.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the cut line is very close back to last, and Clint is currently sitting in that last position, but there is no doubt in my mind Clint can use his speed, use his skill to get him up into that cutoff. To get to the championship 4, but his teammate Jared Kaler is also very, very fast here at Phoenix in races past, including a win here. But our Muhammad Alif also has 2 wins here back to back, so a lot of speed in this final 8 drivers.
Yeah, let's take a look then at tonight's starting grid, and a couple of those names you just mentioned we're going to see really high up in the qualifying order. But on the front row, winning the pole tonight, it is Oklahoma's Mario Miranda, the 89, looking to try and win his way into the championship 4 tonight. He'll be rolling off from the pole position. Daniel Nanny, last week's runner-up, rolls off in second, 1/100th of a second off. Row 2, it'll be last week's winner, R. Muhammad Alif, 2-time winner here at Phoenix. To his outside, Jared Kaler, who's also picked up a win here at this 1-mile track in the desert. Clint Halterman rolls off 5th for UNC Charlotte. We talked to him in the pre-race show. Fellow playoff driver Lucas Moody rolls off to his outside in 6th. Row 4, it will be Ryan Whitlock, runner-up from Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago, alongside Brandon Schulenberger, who picked up his first podium of the season last week. And in row 5, it'll be Zach DeWale from St. Clair College in the 100 machine, alongside regular season champ Andrew Williams from Clemson.
In row 6, we have Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas, and to his outside, Nicholas Stockner from Clemson University. And in 13th, we have Andrew Stagey from Ball State, and to his outside, playoff driver Jake Cummings from Converse. Another playoff driver, Edward Sanchez from Baruch College, starts in 15th, and to his outside, another Ball State car in Kelton Quick. And Garrett Vighton from Arizona State University starts 17th, and in 18th, Bryce Kobler from Emory and Henry. And rounding out your top 20, we have Jason Wallet from Drexel University and Andrew Burrell from Clemson to his outside.
Rolling off in row 11, it'll be Ben Neller from Ball State, Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M Texarkana. Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso University rolls off in the 23rd position. Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte in 24th. 25th tonight will be Logan Smith from the University of Auburn. Logan Harpine from ETSU rolls off 26th. Dylan Godinez rolls off 27th tonight for the Penn College of Technology. Sky Shrek to their outside, rolling off in the 28th position. And in row 15, it'll be Paul Smith's College, Carter Copini, and the Penn College of Technology's Zach Tallman.
In row 16, we have the Byers. First off, Jordan Byers from Penn State University, Barron. And to his outside, Justin Byers from West Virginia University. In 33rd, Roger Primo from Paul Smith College, and to his outside, Alex Hallinar from Binghamton University. And rounding out the field tonight, Nathaniel Crone from the University of Toledo.
Should be a good group here tonight. 35 drivers ready to rock and roll in the desert. And Brad, one of the names that jumped out to me there was Alex Hallinar. Did not elect to take a qualifying time. Will be starting 34th, but was one of the fastest cars in practice on single lap time. Really curious to see if that was just a fluke for the 057 or if he's going to try and go from the back to the front tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass here at Phoenix at times. You sometimes need a something to happen in front of you so everyone kind of gaggles up and gets, easy positions. It happened to me a couple times, and it can cause so much anxiety while you're behind that wheel. It's insane, especially going into 1 and 2.
So, yeah, I guess I'll ask you this as well, because we're about to get going, and we know drivers are going to take this dog leg here when the green flag flies in a lap. As someone who has found a good bit of success here at Phoenix, what is that feeling like on cold tires, diving into the dog leg? How much faith do you have in the car to stick the landing going down there and then making your way back up the track? Do you have to, feather the throttle at all? Or is it just full speed ahead and hope you don't bottom out the car?
Well, really, to learn the dog leg, I kind of did feather the throttle a little bit because I thought that was the key, but really I think it's more of your angle going into that dog leg because there is a tiny elevation change, and that elevation change can mean everything. Your car will just lock up, and by the time you're realizing it, you're just through the dog leg and trying to collect yourself. So as you can see here tonight, we have 156 laps, 156 miles here in Phoenix. Stage break at lap 40, pit road speed 45 miles an hour, and it's going to take a long time for these drivers to get through pit lane.
That it is certainly going to take a minute. 5 sets of tires over the wall available. Estimated fuel window 90 to 100 in laps. So realistically, you're only going to need to stop for fuel once. You'll need to stop for tires far more often. The fall off here pretty significant. But we are about to get ready to rock and roll here in the round of 8. Drivers in the restart zone, green flag in the air, and we are racing at Phoenix. A lot of 3 wide trying to get through the field. And sideways in 3 and 4. He's going to catch it, but they are 3-4 wide deeper in the field as Daniel Nanny takes over from the front. Mario Miranda, the pole sitter, having some trouble here on the opening lap, and he's going to have a lot of ground to make up.
I mean, the one person who took total advantage of that was Clint Halterman, up to 3rd place already. He's already trying to put his stamp on Phoenix. But he's going to have to get through Ball State yet again. 1-2, sitting here with Daniel Nanny, Muhammad Ali, running the show only through 2 laps.
Yeah, he is pulled ahead. His teammate right behind him. A very familiar sight for those who tuned in to Darlington a week ago is the 30 and the 12 running 1-2. This time, though, you got Ball State running 1st, 2nd, and then UNC Charlotte 3rd, 4th. Let's take a look here to see what happened to Miranda. Oh, and the Leaf got a piece of him. He was side by side with Kaler as the 89 went down toward the apron. The 12 had a really good run to the corner because he was trying to outbrake the 58 and gets a piece of the 89. So can't imagine Miranda's particularly thrilled about that one.
Tuning back in here for the battle for 5th position. Jake Cummings, Ryan Whitlock on the outside. Right now, Ryan Whitlock's giving that inside to Jake Cummings. And you can see a battle for an alumni here between 2 alumni, Drew Williams and Zach DeRoe, right behind. A lot of action right now in these beginning laps.
Yeah, this is the best time to try and make something happen on these restarts when everyone's all bottled up. You're trying to get as many positions as you can. Jake Cummings doing that to great effect here. He started 14th. He's already up to 6th. So he is trying to take his playoff destiny into his own hands here in the opening couple laps. I'm telling you what, I'm looking at this timing table, and Daniel Nanny is starting to check out from the field 3/4 of a second. The gap back to teammate Armahamad Ali as they go almost 3 wide behind him. But we'll watch here as Daniel Nanny is head. Producer Christian and I slightly out of sync at the moment. And that is my bad. I keep trying to cut between too many things at once. There's just so much happening here in the early going. It's tough to keep your gauge on all of it. Oh, Williams is sideways. Cuts it down on the apron. I'm not sure what happened there. He was right next to the 95 through turns 3 and 4, and it looked like the 123 got kicked out of line. And it didn't look like they were all that close to each other. Well, maybe they were. Let's take another look. He is really lucky he kept that off the inside wall. One more look here between the 95 and the 123, and yeah, looks like the 95 was trying to get down to pinch the 123, but the 123 didn't go all the way down to the apron. He was trying to give himself a little bit more runoff through the corner, and the two met in the middle. Only the 123 of Andrew Williams, though, the loser in that exchange. He lost a lot of track position. Now battling here with Lucas Moody. That is the battle for 14th. A couple of playoff drivers here around 14th and 15th.
I mean, once some battles start here at Phoenix, you kind of get a little backlog here as you see Jason Wallace trying to take advantage here. Now on the inside of Lucas Moody as well. He's going to get that position from Moody and continue on his way trying to take down Drew Williams.
Oh,
he hits the
76.
wall too.
Yeah, he got a massive piece of the wall off of 2. Checked him up big time. It's going to let Ben Neller and Lucas Moody get all on top of him. As he lost a lot of track position up to Williams. On board here with Lucas Moody off the old fender cam. And you can see just what that angle was like hitting the dog leg and now trying to run down low. This Jason Watt trying to hold on to the high side here. You know, that Insomnia Cookies logo is so close you can almost take a bite out of it.
And you can see Lucas right now. He's currently sitting, I believe, last out of the playoff drivers as it stands right now. So he's trying to make his way through the field outside of Mario Miranda.
And there's the live points as they run. This is as they are actively on track, folks. This is updated in real time. So as you could see already, a little bit of shuffling. Miranda gets shuffled down 5 spots. Kaler and Halterman up 4. So this is obviously in real time, but Miranda plenty of time to try and bounce back from the early contact there with a leaf. Plenty of time to try and get himself back into the mix. Lucas Moody starting to fall the wrong way as well. He just dropped back to the 17th position here. The 13 battling with his teammate Ben Neller, who gets a piece of the wall. Nearly checks up Kelton Quick, but Mario Miranda going to capitalize and get past them both, and he'll move back up.
Oh, somebody just
Stockner hard into the wall. Ooh. Cautions out. The 124 hammered the outside wall off of 4. And that is a tow back to pit lane for the 124. That might be terminal here on lap 13.
And you can see the crewmen behind them look a little interesting paint scheme there. But anyways, going back here to Stockner, he's currently in front of Brandon Schoenberger going into turn 3 here. And he hits the wall a little bit there.
Yeah, the lap prior, he's already up into the outside wall, and then he makes it around again, but he must have hit it a lot harder the second time around. So you see the 124 going through 3 and 4, and this is where it happens. He just immediately overdrove it.
Oh!
Snapped back on him. And heavy contact for Nick Stockner.
And that's definitely going to be terminal for that 124 machine from Clemson on onboard view here. You can see he dives it in there. Bryce Kober in front. He just, oh yeah, he just slides up, get on the brakes a little bit, and then the overcorrection.
Yeah, he's lucky no one else got a piece of him there as well, but the tough break there for the 124. He tried driving into the corner at one speed, the 5 in front of him at a different one, and when Stockton tried getting out of the gas, he ended up losing control of it. Into the outside wall he goes, and the streak for most ever Garage Shop College Cup Series starts without a win will continue likely another race here for the 124, as he has now scored 2 laps down. Got to imagine that a couple of cars maybe thought about coming down for fresh tires here. Not sure if there was any takers, but it's something that you probably had an eye on just with the nature of how quickly the tire fall off can happen here at Phoenix.
And one thing to note here, Alex, I don't think we mentioned so far, is on these restarts, these drivers have to wait until the start-finish line to go through the apron. As you can see, 10 of our CIL drivers all currently lapping around, trying to regain themselves after that chaotic first set of laps.
And what's fun is that you're seeing a lot of playoff drivers here. You see Jake Cummings, who is Drew Williams, Clint Halterman, Edward Sanchez, Alif, Miranda, Moody. A bunch of playoff drivers in that grouping. Schulenberger, Whitlock, and Stagey in there as well. That was not at all in screen order, by the way, folks. That was just as it registered in my brain. So do not try and take that as factual information there. We'll bring that camera view up again later, and we'll go through the actual order, so I don't sound like an absolute lunatic up here in the booth. Field, though, ready to get going once again. It'll be Ball State in the front row. It'll be UNC Charlotte in row 2. Green flag back in the air, and we are racing once again at Phoenix.
And you can see the whole field just sprawls across that dog leg, and pretty much 2 by 2 through the entire field outside of these Ball State teammates in front. As you see Clint Halterman to the outside of Jake Cummings. And it looks like everything's fizzled out here in the top 5 now.
And a little more side-by-side action deeper in the field. That's Edwin Onofre, Zach DeWale, Bryce Kobler. There on the left side of your screen, you see Garrett Fitton there with Edward Sanchez and Brandon Schulenberger as well. All of this for positions inside the top 10 as they run. That white and green UNT machine trying to run the inside against the all-green car of St. Clair. Not going to work. Caution's out. Looks like it must have been deeper out in the field. It may... I'm trying to figure out who it was. I actually can't quite tell.
As we try to find out who was the phantom of this caution. Going. You can see Cemetery of Wesley Shaw get some help. Woo.
That'll do it. Oh, what a job to keep it off the wall for the Texarkana driver. Impressive stuff.
It was a little 4-wide action, and outside of the dog leg, that spells a disaster most of the time. Riding along here with Ryan Whitlock, diving down to the inside, and just 4 cars fighting for the same spot, which is kind of insane to say, but I mean, it just got accordioned up side by side.
Yeah, it's tough because Whitlock saw the gap under Shaw at the same time. I think Harpine saw the gap above. I want to say that might have been Byers, and they all kind of went for the same spot at the same time, and it obviously did not work out. That's a tough break. So no penalty there to the self spin for the 124, and then I believe a racing incident was deemed for our second caution of the night here at Phoenix. 20 laps in, and it is still Daniel Nanny up at the front of the field. The Ball State driver, not in the postseason, but he has been driving lights out the past couple weeks. His teammate Muhammad Alif, last week's winner, directly behind him. But now Jake Cummings splitting up the party for UNC Charlotte in the second row. They'll be fourth, ahead of Kaler, but behind Clint Halterman.
And honestly,
Jake Cummings
I mean,
already up 10 spots from where he qualified.
and I mean Bryce Kobler in the same, up 10 positions into the 8th spot. But the one thing I wanted to note, Alex, is and for everyone at home, this inside line is it gets a pretty big jump compared to the outside line with how everything in iRacing works, because both lines have to take the same speed, but they don't have to go the same distance per se. I mean, the lower line has a shorter route to the start finish line since the pace car pulls off half a mile from the start finish line.
Yeah, and having that restart zone in a turn, it's not too often you have that. And it does make the inside line quite the place to be. It also gives you more immediate access to the dogleg. So there's a lot to like being on that inside lane, assuming you can keep the car stable going down to the apron like that. The lights are off on the pace car, which means the field will get stacked up here too wide. And we'll get ready to go. As they run, it is Ball State 1-2 with Nanny and Alif. Row 2 is UNC Charlotte's Clint Halterman, Jake Cummings there for Converse in 4th. Row 3, it is Jared Kaler, Zach DeWale, UNC Charlotte, St. Clair College, respectively. Row 4 on the inside is UNT's Edwin Onofre, Emory and Henry's Bryce Kobler to his outside. And row 5 will be Baruch's Edward Sanchez in that baby blue car with Wingate's Brandon Schulenberger to his outside in the 7. Fun group of cars up at the front of the field here. A lot of them trying to fight to win and lock themselves into the round of 4 here at Phoenix, the first race of the round of 8 for the Garage Shop College Cup Series. And the green flag is back underway. Nanny and Alif going to lead them down to the dogleg.
Oh,
and the yellow
caution.
flag's already out. Car sideways in the dogleg. Someone was facing the wrong way. I want to say it may have been Andrew Burrell. Yeah. Yeah, heavy damage to the 121.
I mean, he's got no bumper right now, so he got a little bit of repairs back in pit lane, but it's better than the engine.
Yeah, he's able to keep it rolling at least, which is beneficial to the 121. But whatever happened on the restart because he was immediately in the fence. I mean, they hadn't even gotten to the apex of the dogleg before the 121 was facing the wrong way. So here's one more look at it. Oh, yeah. The 121 was trying to stay on the racing surface and not drop down to the dogleg, and the 43 just pitched in directly into him. I'm sure the 43 was expecting the 121 to go down below the apron so they could take that spot on the racing surface, but the 121 was already in that spot when they tried to turn down.
And I mean, it's one rule to note. The CIL, the inside car does not have to go into the dogleg if they don't choose so. So it's more of an assumption than like a requirement for these drivers to, think on the outside like, hey, this car on the inside is going to go into the dogleg. But sometimes, I mean, I'm more comfortable whenever I drive Phoenix to stay on the track, but obviously that might, hinder your speed a little bit.
And we see a couple of takers for pit road here. Dylan Godinez, Sky Shrek. A couple of cars going to come down pit road here. Try and get some fresh tires on it. Not a whole lot really was able to change in how short that sprint was. Even the leaders had barely gotten to turn 1 and 2 by the time the caution came out. So, but a very quick re-rack and try it again, I believe, here. I believe the lap after this, they'll be going green. One driver, we're taking a look here at the Oklahoma driver, Sky Shrek, another Oklahoma driver worth noting right now, Mario Miranda, the pole sitter. Currently scored in 13th. You'll remember had that incident with a leaf on the opening lap of the race, fell all the way outside the top 20. So the 89 starting to move back in the right direction here. Back up into P13. Still a long way to go to get back to the front of the field. And there is the driver of the 89. The onboard there with Mario Miranda. Couple wins early this season. Won the season opener at Talladega, then won a couple weeks later at Kansas when teammate John Hagan and Jake Cummings came together off of turn 4. It's been a tough couple races since then, though. The 89 looking to try and get back to victory lane for the first time since round 3 of the season. So the field stacked up once again. They're going to give it another go here. And this is the thing with Phoenix, is that because the restarts can be so volatile, sometimes everyone gets it settled and you get great action at the front of the field, and sometimes, because of how chaotic it can be, it just takes one slightly wrong move and we're re-racking them and trying again. So here we go. Pace car going to peel off on the exit of turn 2. We're going to get the long procession down the back straightaway.
And now we wait.
And now we wait. It does throw off your rhythm a little bit, though, as a driver, because you have to spend so much time pacing, getting ready for the restart. Normally, it's just a quick, you're in and you're gone. Here, you really have to think about it. And here we go. Green flag back in the air. Another good launch from the 30, and he'll dive on down into the dogleg.
You can see Clint Halterman to the inside of Jake Cummings. The leaf is able to block it off as we have yet another caution. Some more trouble towards the back of the field.
Yeah, I believe this was deeper in the field. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, might have been the 808 of Dylan Cadinez who's trying to get that car righted. That might be the culprit there, although, you know, how he got facing the wrong direction, we'll find that out in just a second here. He may have had some help. The 808 launching there, the Penn College of Technology driver, and almost goes 3 wide there with Shaw and Finnerty. And then a bit of contact there with the 321, although I can't tell from that angle how heavy the contact was or if that was netcode. I'm hearing from race control it might have been netcode. Let's take one more look at this. See if we can glean how close or how far away this net code was with the 321.
Cadinez was aggressive early in that one, almost sending it 3 wide through the dogleg, and it's just sent for a ride.
Jump on board there with the 321 Affinity. That might have the missing link, if you will. The 321 machine of Alex Finnerty. We jump on board with him. Oh, yeah. That didn't look like there was any contact there. Yeah, a little bit of net code, and that's a tough break for the 808. You know, making non-existent contact with another driver that spins you around is always incredibly frustrating, but then it becomes doubly frustrating because you can't even really be mad at the other person, because if everything worked out the way it was supposed to, there wouldn't have been an incident in the first place. The field going to try and get ready to go once again. We had a decent start to the race, about 13, 15 laps or so at green. Since then, Brad, it's been really stop and start. Do you think the driver's nerves are getting the best of them here on these restarts?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think honestly it's just these chaotic restarts always happen, no matter the car, no matter the skill level, no matter what happens. Just Phoenix is made for these types of restarts, and obviously wrecks will happen. You'll see it in real life and even here. So I think right now, Ball State currently saving up their tires, really. I mean, Nanny had a huge jump and a huge lead, through that green flag run. I was thinking possibly Nanny was going to be burning up the tires a little bit more than some of the others in the top 5, but with these cautions, I mean, pretty much these guys are on, 20 lap tires.
And to that point, it is tough to get a gauge on how much life your tires really have when it's so much stop and start. Because you start doing the math like, okay, I've had 32 laps on this set of tires. Then you start trying to think how many laps of that is actually green. And then of those, the restarts can definitely put a bit of a wear on them. And it becomes tough to really get a gauge of just how much wear you are putting on the tires. And, everyone knows we still have got the stage break scheduled for lap 60, so about halfway to the opening stage of this one. So you got to imagine the drivers are going to want to try and settle in and get a nice run to the stage marker if they can. Going to ride on board here on this restart with the 077 of Clint Halterman. And we just took a nice little shot there of our Muhammad Alif. But that's the guy in front of him there in the teal. There's Clint Halterman. As they hit the restart zone. And we are racing once again at Phoenix post Alif jump scare.
Right now, you can see the whole field is pretty much battling. Even now, Clint Halterman is racing for second place as we have another caution from the seams of it. It looks like it might be the UNC Charlotte Alex Finnerty might be involved in this one. We'll have to see.
Let's see if we can take a look at the replay and see what happened. We believe it may have involved 320. Oh, never mind. It was directly in front of the 321. Apologies to Alex Finnerty. That was Justin Byers who got sideways there in a hurry. I don't know how that started. I'll have to take a look to see how he got sideways, but he was spinning across the dogleg there. We'll jump on board there. It's the 18. They make their way into the dogleg. Oh, and just runs out of room with Shaw. Shaw gets a piece of him, pushes him down. I believe that was into Cadinez. And then the 18 comes flying back up the track as he was already out of sorts there when 73 got him in the left rear. We'll take one more look at it here, and you see just how quickly this develops.
I mean, you could see the 11 of Carter Copini, I think, is an innocent bystander to this all, but Cadinez makes up a lot of spots in a hurry, but because of that, Wesley Shaw has to move up a tiny bit to make sure they all make the corner, and I think Justin Byers was not thinking so, and the Carter Copini just got annihilated going into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's tough. The 73 saw the 808 coming up the track, tried moving up to make sure there was no contact there, didn't realize the 18 was to his outside, and all three of them go for a wild ride. But much to your point, that's an incredibly tough break for the 11 of Carter Copini, who was not going to be involved in that in any capacity. He was minding his own business, and now his car is absolutely devastated as they work on the PSC machine.
We did have a little bit of movement up here at the front. You see Clint Halterman.
Like,
Daniel Nanny is now being one with the pace car as well.
Wanted to drop in, say hello. Maybe try and get some words of wisdom from the current lap leader, the iRacing pace car. He's getting a good gauge. I'll tell you right now, hopefully this race doesn't end up like the race I broadcast last week, did a race at Martinsville that had 28 cautions, and let me tell you how tired I was at the end of that one. So far, I think we're only about 5, so we should be fine to not reach that fate, but trending in the wrong direction over the past 20 laps here. So the penalty there to the 73 of Wesley Shaw for avoidable contact with the 18. Lights are off once again on the pace car. They'll try and get sorted here through 1 and 2 for the first time since the opening drop of the green flag. It has been a minute since I believe we've completed a full green flag lap here at Phoenix, Brad.
Yeah, and it's been a minute since we've seen somebody outside of Ball State on the front row. Clint Halterman currently sitting in second position, but you can see it's Ball State on the inside and UNC Charlotte on the outside with Jared Kaler joining the fun.
A little bit of team battling up at the front of the field. Then behind them, a couple of playoff drivers, Jake Cummings, Edward Sanchez. Miranda sneaking into the picture as well. He's currently scored 12th. So into the restart zone they go. We are racing once again, and not a bad launch there from the 077, trying to hang with them. Oh, someone got put into the outside wall there. That was Ben Neller, who got a piece of the outside wall, but we're going to stay green. Kept the throttle down, kept himself in it. And more damage there for the 79 off of 2. But that is a green flag lap completed, which should not be a crazy accomplishment, but it's been a minute since they've been able to do it. And now the field trying to get themselves sorted out here as they make their way back in the 1 and 2. Oh, Schulenberger's around.
Now bring the yellow out.
Oh, and he got
collected.
hammered by Zach Tallman.
Whew.
The 7 just lost control there on his own, I believe, in 1 and 2. Everyone tried getting low, and the 71 not able to get slowed up in time. And that's the thing, you start doing so many pacing laps, the tires cool off a lot more than you think. And it's tough to get heat back in them when it's a night race. We'll take a look at here of what happened to Brandon Schulenberger as they made their way in the 1 and 2. And just gets out of sorts.
Oh, that was a self-spin.
And then flies in, gets a piece of him.
That I think, was that on the passenger side? That was the passenger side, right?
Well, we'll find out here in a second. I think we'll up on board with the 71 and see if we could take a look at what happened there. The 71 got all of Schulenberger there.
He's already part of some calamity there. It looked like some 4-wide action, and you can see Schulenberger up ahead and just right into the side of the 7. Whew.
And it was tough because, I was trying to look ahead to see if you could see where he was sideways, and you didn't see him until late, but the 71, and his immediate instinct was to try and go up, assuming the 7 was coming down the track, but Schulenberger had locked it down, so just hammers into the side of him. Significant front-end damage for the 71, significant right-side damage to the 7. That is going to be incredibly difficult for Tallman to rally back from.
I mean, Schulenberger as well. He's definitely going to have to get some repairs on that passenger side.
So we're on board here with the current race leader, the pace car, putting in his work today. He hasn't really had time to settle in, Brad, and get to his snacks or whatever. He's been having to put in a good bit of work here in the opening 42 laps.
Yes. So far, he hasn't hit any barrels, hasn't hit anything outside of the track, so...
Yeah, already doing better than the pace car driver on Sunday. Hopefully we won't have to red flag this one if he gets into the sand barrels as well. Figured this might not be a bad opportunity to take a quick look at some of the big movers so far through the opening 42 laps. I'm looking through the field, and the first one that comes to mind there, Jake Cummings, who's up in the 5th, but also Jordan Byers in the 8th, up to 21st, started in 31st today, so he's doing a good job. Garrett Vighton up 9 as well. He's currently running in the 8th position. Jason Wallet up 9. He's currently running 10th after starting 19th. And playoff contender Edward Sanchez started 15th. He's up to 7th. So, with the lights out on the pace car, we have an opportunity real quick to mention the iRacing Black Friday sale. The biggest iRacing sale of the year is back. 25% off for 1 or 2 year subscriptions, and new users get 50% off on their subscription. This deal runs through December 2nd. Jump on it while you can, folks, even if it's just renewing the current one you've got. As you know, it's going to come up at some point, and there's no better time than to do it here during the iRacing Black Friday sale. So into the restart zone they go once again. It'll be Daniel Nanny, Clint Halterman, going to lead them back to green.
Currently, Barney's arm is probably in an eternal state of flexing right now, waving that green and yellow flag every so often. See Nanny, Clint Halterman, and R. Muhammad Ali currently in a fight.
Oh, Sky Shrek sideways. The 43 lost it on the apron, but down out of the racing line, we stay green. Just lost it on the apron. There was a 43, but luckily out of the racing line. Meanwhile, back up front, it is getting dicey. 2-3 wide up through the top 10. Kaler and Cummings there, door-to-door for 4th. Sanchez and Vighton door-to-door for 6th.
You can see Sanchez follows back in the line. So currently between Cummings and Kaler right now trying to figure out who wants this 4th position, as they have a bunch of hungry drivers trying to figure out their way to get past the rest of the field. As you see, Kaler's able to take that position, and now DeWale's going to try and make it work on the outside of the Cummings.
The 100 going all the way up the hill, trying to get the run down the back straightaway, cut off by the 95. The 100 with a lot of speed. He's going to look to the outside again here in 3 and 4. Not a ton of banking here at Phoenix, but enough to get a run. When you run that high side, you get back to the throttle so much sooner. And you see he is absolutely hounding the rear bumper of the 95 right now, and he can't take a second to breathe because he's got Garrett Vighton all over his back bumper as well. The onboard with Jake Cummings, what he's seeing in the mirror right now.
He cuts off Zachary DeWale there going into 3. And I mean, these tires, even though they're pretty much new at this moment, everyone's trying to use this restart to get as many positions as they can. You can see Zach DeWale is one of those drivers trying to make his way through the field, but Garrett Vighton is now trying to make this a 3-way battle. As you can see, Cummings has hits the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, and incredibly close racing there from DeWale and Cummings. The 95 not giving the 100 any room to operate. DeWale forging ahead nonetheless has allowed Garrett Vighton to get right back into the picture as well. There's some pretty incredible stuff happening here in this battle for the 5th, 6th, and 7th position. Now Vighton to the outside of DeWale looking to take away that spot. The Arizona State Sun Devil moves ahead to P6.
Vighton knows this track much more than the average person. He's worked here in real life before. He was actually at the race here this past weekend, so he's using all of his knowledge, all of his recent knowledge to really try and work his way through this field, trying to get to the top 5. As you can see, pretty much everyone to really about the 13th, 14th position battling. And as I say that, Andrew Williams and Mario Miranda are battling it out for 10th position.
Yeah, good little scrap there for P10. 2 of the playoff 8 drivers, Miranda and Williams. Both of these guys started way higher up in the field and then had an issue early on that dropped them back, and now this is the first real green flag run they've had time to do anything about it. And they were door-to-door there for a moment. Miranda holding on the P10 for now, and they're both tracking down Edward Sanchez in front of them. There you see Miranda on the left side of your screen, Clemson's Drew Williams on the right side.
And I mean, every point is critical here, and right now they're battling for a stage point that will be happening here within the next 8 laps. So they're trying to get everything they can, and now they're closing in on Edward Sanchez, yet another playoff driver, as you see Drew Williams pull to the inside of Mario Miranda.
And it's incredibly worth noting here, the stage is scheduled for lap 60. Those stage points could be absolutely critical in advancing to the final round of the Garage Shop College Cup Series playoffs, and 10th is the last spot that gets awarded points. So a critical point or two on the line here between Sanchez, Miranda, and Williams. 3 drivers who are all really wanting to get those stage points, but there's only 2 spots for the 3 of them.
I mean, right now we kind of see Drew is getting a little fed up. It looks like he's trying to make his way around Mario, and vice versa. Edward Sanchez right in front of him. These 3 are battling it out for some precious stage points, but you can see up a little further, Zach DeWale, Jake Garrett Fighting, it looks like, might be battling it out for 6th position.
Yeah, that battle just ahead of Miranda and Williams. This battle between Vighton and DeWale has not quit. The 55 and the 100. We're watching here. Williams gets a good run to the inside there on the dog leg. Going to try and drive it in real deep against the 89. Door to door they go through 1 and 2. They're both on the back bumper of Sanchez here. But a great run off the corner from Miranda is going to hold on to that spot. Was not going to be an easy pass there for the 123, and the 89 using that momentum you can carry from running the high side in 1 and 2 to hold on to it for now. 5 laps to go in the opening stage.
And I mean, Drew is not letting Mario get away. As you can see, he's trying everything now, looking to the inside, going into turn 3, sending it deep. And a little door banging.
Whoa. I'm sure the 89 not going to be thrilled about that. The 123 sent it in there and tried just moving the 89 out of the way. But Miranda's still right on the outside door of Williams. Door to door they remain. The 89 going to try and get the run off the corner. And that's the thing. When you're stuck on the inside in 1 and 2, with a car to your outside, you can't push all the way up to the outside wall. It compromises your exit just enough, typically, to let the car on the outside pull that momentum ahead. So right now, you can see how determined Williams is to try and get that extra point. But right now, Miranda defending fiercely. And here comes company here for Drew Williams. Edwin Onofre, Jason Wallet, hot on his heels as well. So now you got to play a little bit of offense and defense. And meanwhile, up at the front, Clint Halterman right on the back bumper of Daniel Nanny for the lead. 2 laps to go in the stage, and Halterman is there.
Not far behind a leaf as well, so Halterman to the outside now of Nanny. Really the first time we've seen a green flag run where Nanny has been under attack. Halterman using everything he can out of the car. Going into turn 3 on the outside.
Halterman trying to run the outside here in 3 and 4, coming to the line. Nanny cuts him off at the pass. The 30 holds serve for now. Halterman going to get one more crack at it here. And there's the stage. The stage break scheduled here. Daniel Nanny going to hold on to win the stage here at Phoenix. But boy, did he have to defend hard in those last couple laps as Halterman made a real run at it. So playoff drivers getting stage points here. Halterman's going to get 9 for that second place run. Alif's going to get 8. Kaler's going to get 7. Cummings going to get 6. Sanchez is going to get 2, and Miranda's going to get 1. Drew Williams finishing 11th. Lucas Moody finishing 13th there. Both of them going to miss out on some precious stage points. Well, I tell you what, the moment they got going green there, we got some great action up at the front of the field. And now here comes the field to pit road. I'm sure everyone very thankful to have an opportunity to put new tires on.
And we saw in the pre-race that, the fuel window does extend to the end of this race, but it's hard to keep those tires up, and I don't know if anyone can really make it to the end from here. So I think there's one more pit stop for these drivers at least to make it to the end.
Yeah, I'd imagine if there's a proper opportunity to come down pit road with like 50-ish laps to go, someone's going to take it, because it'd be a long run to the finish from here to try and make it on one set of tires. As you see the leaders all pulling into their box. Miranda finds his up at the front there. And who's going to win the race off of pit road? Car is starting to peel off back down pit road. It's going to be a run to the line, and that was really close between Halterman and Nanny. Not sure who got it. Producer Christian would love to take a look at the replay to see who got who at the line.
That was close.
We're going to see if we could take a look at the replay there, because, boy, that was a matter of inches between the two. It's a great stop for the 077 to even make it a battle there, because obviously the 30 came in front of him.
Whew.
Oh, boy, look at that. Yeah, let's see if we can rewind that just a hair. I think the 30 got him by a nose, but that is just barely. All right, let's take one more look at it here. Car's going to be coming in from the right side of your screen here. Oh, boy, look at that. Nanny just barely by a splitter getting there at the line.
I mean, everyone's pretty much 2 or 3 wide coming out of pit road.
It's also really worth noting, watching that replay, Muhammad Ali came off of pit road 5th. He lost 2 spots there behind Kaler and Cummings. So that is really going to be a tough break there for the multi-time winner here at Phoenix, falling back to the 5th position. But we saw a driver get relegated from the front to 5th on Sunday, and that guy ended up going on to win the race. So, maybe it's not all bad for the driver of the 12.
Hoping history repeats itself today. But the one thing to note here, pace lights are out. Currently, your top 5, Daniel Nanny, Clint Halterman, Jake Cummings, Jared Kaler, and Muhammad Ali. And sitting behind them now, Garrett Vighton, Zach DeWale, Edward Sanchez makes up 1 position on Bryce Kobler, and then we have Mario Miranda and Edwin Onofre now takes over the 11th position from Drew Williams, who dropped back to 13th.
Yeah, Williams down to 13th, Moody down to 15th. Those are the points as they run, folks. You can see the shuffling that's been taking place, and it's getting real close at that cut line. The separation only 4 points between Halterman and Sanchez, and only 5 from him back to Miranda. For guys like Drew Williams and Lucas Moody, though, it is go time trying to get back into that lead group. Pace car back on pit road. Nanny and Halterman gonna lead them back to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We are racing once again at Phoenix.
A great jump from Nanny gets him in front of Clint Halterman, who's able to clear his UNC Charlotte teammate Jared Kaler, but now Jared's under attack from Jake Cummings. Currently battle for third as we have some 3 wide action further back in the pack. Edward Sanchez and Bryce Kobler alongside with now Mario Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda getting right to the back bumper of Sanchez there. Things get really tight through 3 and 4 as they work their way back to the dogleg. Everyone going to fan back out. It's like a big accordion. Fan out 3-4 wide. Everyone shuffles back in 2 wide at the most to get into turn 1 and 2. A lot of takers in that middle groove right now. You get a great run off to the line, and for those who had to take the apron, that little bit of a compromised exit, just not enough to get a great run on the inside after a couple laps. You see Onofre here trying to work the inside of Williams, who's glued to the back bumper of Miranda. We've seen these two battle for the better part of the past 20 laps, and that's going to pick up right where it left off.
man, and now you can see Edwin Nofre, Lucas Moody currently coming out of turn 2, and you can see there's now single file as it looks like Mario Miranda is shooting to the inside of Edward Sanchez. Drew Williams overshoots the corner a little bit, has to regain it, and now Edwin Onofre is on the inside of Drew Williams.
Yeah, that was a nice pass there from the 89. Got down and around Edward Sanchez cleanly through 3 and 4. Did not waste any time trying to make that pass. Now Williams looking to the inside of the 26 here through 1 and 2. They're going to be door-to-door down the back straightaway.
Drew has the preferred line going through 3 and 4. But as you can see, Sanchez is able to keep his cool on the outside, and it's currently still door-to-door really between these two. Edwin Nofre and Lucas Moody are currently trying to join the battle here, try to get their way into the top 10. As you see, Drew Williams is able to just pass Edward Sanchez by into the top 10.
Yeah, the 26 struggling a little bit here on the restart. Losing a couple positions to fellow playoff drivers. Trying to get settled back in here, currently running P11. So he's got Moody and Onofre directly behind him. And this is the point in the run where, at this point, you can tell kind of where the groove is, where everyone wants to be. And the only time we're going to see someone really stepping out of it is if they're trying to make a pass. Like we see just behind him, Ryan Whitlock, Jason Wallet side by side. That is the battle for 14th.
See that?
Taking a look at.
As it looks like there's some action further up here. Bryce Kobler getting a little impatient behind Zachary DeWale, but also Garrett Vighton's right behind him. These guys are right on top of each other, going through 3 and 4 right now. Bryce Kobler's trying to make his way through the field, but really every car, it seems like from 3rd to, back to like 15th, has either someone pressuring from behind on the inside or in front of them.
Yeah, now things getting a little closer there. Miranda going to try and take that spot away from Vighton. I think he'll get it. And Williams put a little bit of a door there to the 55. I think Drew Williams is trying to not let the 89 get out of his sights, and that is going to lead to a little bit of a door-to-door battle here with the ASU driver. Vighton trying to hold on to P9 right now. Those two continue their battle into turns 1 and 2.
And then Drew
I think
Williams.
there was a little bit more contact there again through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's they're getting a little heated down here in the desert.
I think the 123 is sick of trying to make a pass on the inside, so he's trying to force his way up to as close to the wall as he can get while running the inside. And now he's going to slide up in front of the 55. Took a couple of laps and maybe a couple of shots, but he's gotten around him. Can't imagine Vighton's been particularly thrilled with that, though. And you see now everything with inside the top 12 or so. Single files out. They are running incredibly close together, but a lot of nose to tail down the backstretch in 3 and 4.
And the one thing about this track, the preferred line is on the inside for 2 turns and outside for the other 2. As you can see here, the outside line is preferred for everyone. As you can see, Bryce Kobler is going to try and maybe look to the inside of Zach DeWale. Zach DeWale gets a little loose coming out of 2.
And now Kobler again looks to the inside of the St. Clair College car. This time, though, he's going to get the spot. The 5 going to move up the P6, trying to track down Muhammad Alif, last week's winner at Darlington. Meanwhile, the 100 directly now in line with the 5. Going to try and track him down the back straightaway. He's got Miranda, though, directly behind him. And now the 89 maybe going to try and drive it a little deeper on the dog leg here. Thought about trying to get to the inside. Now he will. Door to door with Zach DeWale. Miranda on the inside, DeWale up high.
St. Clair on the outside, Oklahoma on the inside, and you can see it's a little alumni student battle currently for this 7th position. And Drew Williams is trying to, like you said before, follow Mario Miranda through this top 10. Currently on the inside of Zach DeWale after Miranda's able to get the move done. and Drew's going to use that dog leg in the inside line going into turn 1. Get it cleared going through turn 2 and is able to take the position. And it seems like Mario Miranda and Drew Williams, one person gets a little antsy, the other one is right behind him.
Yeah, they have stayed lockstep ever since this thing got really going green again around lap 42. And any time one makes a move, the other person quick to follow, as they now have worked their way up into P7 and P8. It's been a great rally for both of these drivers, the regular season champ and the pole sitter. 78 laps to go here from Phoenix in the Rollo Tony's 150, presented by the Garage Shop. Daniel Nanny, your leader, out front by 0.3 of a second over Clint Halterman. Jared Kaler putting 2 cars in podium positions right now for UNC Charlotte, running third. Jake Cummings, R. Muhammad Alif, your top 5 as they run. As we got a little bit of a door-to-door battle here, Miranda going to take a peek to the inside of Kobler. There is the 5 in the 89.
Kobler's able to use that outside line momentum and stay in front of Miranda, but Miranda's not going to... If we've seen anything in this green flag run, Miranda's not going to let you go. He is currently sitting in 7th, looking towards really the top 5 now, as R. Muhammad Alif's right ahead of Kobler. Miranda's going to send it on the inside, going into 1. He doesn't have it to the inside of Kobler, and Kobler's going to shut that door before it opens.
Miranda right in the tire tracks of the Emery and Henry machine. Going to get down to the apron directly behind the 5. The 5 himself directly in the tire tracks of Alif just up ahead. Drives it hard in the 1 and 2. They're all going to take that middle groove and try and diamond off the corner here. The 89 got a little loose. And will that open the door for Williams behind? Doesn't look like he was close enough to pounce on it. It wasn't a huge slip up from the 89, but it did cost him about a car length to Kobler as they continue on this run. That momentum they had on the restart maybe starting to stall out just a little bit. You know, every pass you make trying to get to the front, it's a little bit more difficult. Those cars tend to have a little bit more pace each car you get by, working your way up through the field. And now Williams and Miranda nose the tail here in 3 and 4.
And this is really a 4-car battle for 5th as Kobler's on the back bumper of R. Muhammad Alif. Looked to the inside, but it didn't work. And now they're all spaced out. Zachary DeWale also in this battle.
Yeah, and you see everything starting to stack up just a hair behind R. Muhammad Alif. I think the 5 might actually have slightly more pace than the 12 right now. Just has not been able to find a way by just yet. As you see, there's starting to become a gap between Cummings and Alif, and then everything all nice and close behind the 12 here. As you see, Kobler took a peek to the outside of the 12. Alif, with a timely block, holds the 5 behind him, and Kobler still trying to find his way on by. This is the battle for 5th on back.
Going through the dogleg, you can see pretty much everyone's using the same line outside of Drew Williams there. He's trying to do anything he can to get around Mario Miranda. He's probably tired of, you know, really looking at that Oklahoma bumper.
Yeah, they are all probably sick of looking at each other right now. They've seen nothing but the tail end of the car in front of them for the better part of 5-6 laps now.
Ooh.
And they've been incredibly close to one another. As you see, Kobler still willing to try and get down to the dogleg just a little bit. Alif has settled into the racing surface. You know, there's not as many takers going deep into the dogleg at this point, and so a lot of people who are taking just a quick glance at it. As Williams almost got to the back bumper of Miranda there in 1 and 2. The Clemson driver trying to find a way around his playoff rival here. But so far, nothing going.
And right now, I think everyone's trying to just get into their rhythm, make sure they can make it a long way on these tires, because they're going to need to if it's going to be a green flag run. They're going to try and push it as far as they can. And even though the fuel can make it, I'm not sure the tires will.
Yeah, at this point, it's been a pretty healthy green flag run since they got going after the stage. And the fuel will probably be able to make it all the way to the end of this race, but I'm not sure if you want to be running about 90 laps on tires here. As you see, the pace definitely, even with the eye test here, noticeably a click down from where it was on the fresh tires. It's everyone trying to find their way on through, and at this point, it's a matter about trying to save your tires as much as possible here, so if other people burned up their stuff in the early going, you have the ability to work your way on by them. And that might be what we're seeing here with the 89 and the 123, because they were on a charge up until about 10, 15 laps ago and have kind of stalled out here in the 7th and 8th position. Meanwhile, up front, Daniel Nanny ever so slightly starting to crawl away from Clint Halterman. The gap now 0.6 of a second. Halterman kept it around 3 to 4 tenths for the opening about 25 laps of this run. And now it's starting to open up just a hair as the 30 now about 2/3 of a second ahead.
And right now, looking at Daniel Nanny's lap times, he is currently lapping about 6 to 7 tenths to what he did in his first couple laps on this stint. So right now, it's really just ever so slightly slower, but as the laps tick off, every mile is going to add up on these tires. The traction's going to come off, and even, the temperature, the air quality here, well, air temperature here is going to play a factor as well.
And just as we cut away, of course, that's when the moment the battling's happening at that group back there. Miranda, Williams, Kobler. A big shuffle up there. The 5 losing out to Miranda, might lose out here the Williams if he's not careful. They are door-to-door off of 4. The 123 going to drive it deep onto the dog leg, trying to get that run in the turn 1.
Yet again, Miranda passes Kobler, and Drew is trying to follow it up. As you can see, he's on the inside. He has the preferred line going into turn 3. He just has to make it stick as we go through turn 3, come into turn 4, still door to door, ever so slightly. Drew gets a little loose. Opens the door for Zach DeWale.
Yeah, it is. He's going to lose out to Kobler. He might lose out to DeWale here, too. He's now door to door at the 100. Williams drove it in deep down low. Kobler gets down to the apron to block. And this is something I'm sure that has going to have the 89 smiling in the mirror. Seeing this battling between the 5 and the 123 is letting Miranda start to put some distance on them both.
And especially when you have these long green flag runs, having someone not behind you is going to help you with a lot of stress. You don't have to do some mirror racing, as we see Drew Williams gets to the inside of Bryce Kobler through 1 and 2, is able to keep that momentum going down the backstretch. Just a drag race going through, as you see Edward Onofre jump out a little bit, and Drew is going to drive it into turn 3 and is able to clear Kobler for the moment, as he's able to come up, and now Zach DeWale's going to try and take the position using the momentum he's got.
Yeah, DeWale looks to the inside of Kobler now in 1 and 2. The 5, though, a great run through that set of corners is going to keep him ahead of DeWale. Oh, a bit of contact. Contact between Bryce Kobler and Zach DeWale. And they remain at each other's throats here through 3 and 4. Look at how close the gap is. More contact. The 100 shuffling up the track a little bit of a door to the 5. Kobler, though, not going to get pushed around. He's going to hold on to that spot temporarily. But DeWale right back there once again, knocking on the door.
Now DeWale's able to get around Kobler. Now Edward Sanchez is next on the slate for Kobler. Kobler, unfortunately, is on the decline at the moment. So you see the red-hot brakes of Edward Sanchez trying to get down to speed, stay on the inside of Kobler, but Kobler's able to use that speed.
And now Kobler trying to look back to the inside of DeWale potentially here in 1 and 2. Tell you what, he has had a tough gauntlet of drivers to face here back-to-back between Miranda, Williams, DeWale, and now he's got Sanchez directly into the mix as well. It has been a gritty effort so far from the 5, but he has been where the action's been most of this second stage.
And you can see Edward Sanchez trying to get every point he can, along with Lucas Moody now in frame behind him. as Sanchez is looking to the inside of Kobler. Going through turn 2 now. Sanchez has a little bit of a half car length in front as we have the caution is out.
Oh, the caution is out. Who brought it out? That's the question. We're jumping back here. It may have been the 111 of Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso University. Take a look here in just a moment. That was a very healthy green flag run, though. Better part of 40, 50 laps. Take a look here to see what happened to the 111. Everything looked... Oh, what?
Oh, my gosh.
Wesley Shaw pointed the wrong way. And the 111 and the 73 hit each other head on. We'll have to figure out what happened there. Wesley Shaw was pointed the wrong direction entering turn 1. Texas A&M Texarkana driver just got loose, lost it, and slid back up into the track right in front of the 111. So pit stops happening right now as we speak. Going to try and see who wins this race off of pit road. There's going to be Nanny, Halterman, Kaler. No change within the top 5. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, continued coverage of the Rollo Tony's 150 here from Phoenix. The Garage Shop College Cup Series will be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Marconi.
With the launch of Marconi Entertainment and Marconi Competizone alongside Marconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MarconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Marconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine.
Welcome back, folks, here from Phoenix. 54 laps to go to settle this battle in the desert to see who potentially can win their way in to the championship race at Las Vegas. The pace car has just peeled off, and they'll make that long trek down the back straightaway to get ready to rock and roll once again. Daniel Nanny, Clint Halterman going to be your front row. Jared Kaler, Jake Cummings, row 2. Miranda and Sanchez, your third row there. The 12 of Penalty on pit road, going to shuffle him deeper into the field. Here we go. Through turns 3 and 4. Green flag back in the air. And we are racing once again at Phoenix. And Daniel Nanny going to lead the field through the dogleg.
Now it's a battle between UNC Charlotte teammates for the second position. Jared Kaler on the inside, Clint Halterman on the outside, and a whole gaggle of cars behind just waiting for one of them to make a move.
And here we go in the 3 and 4. Halterman going to hold on the second. Cummings trying to latch himself onto the side of the 58. Nowhere to go, though. And the 26 right on his heels as well. Playoff drivers, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 wide. Morendo, Williams, and Sanchez.
We have a caution.
Oh, man, just as it was getting good. That is Justin Byers, the West Virginia machine, around. The first time he spun around tonight was not of his own accord. He got helped the first time. Was it the same this time around? We'll find out when we take a look at the replay.
The Mountaineer machine looks like it's fairly in good shape, so we'll see here in the replay on the outside of Alex Finnerty. It looks like Muhammad Alif is at the end of the line. Just
way up in front of this. Almost contact with Alif. And then got loose. Something spurred that on way earlier, though. There was cars all out of sorts. The 8 of Jordan Byers looked like he got maybe checked up by somebody. We'll have to see if we can figure out what happened just up ahead. Oh, he got tagged by Logan Smith. What a save from the 8 to keep it in one direction. But, yeah, that kind of got the field all out of sorts there when the 34 of Smith made contact with Jordan Byers. And it ultimately got the 18 out of sorts enough. By the time he got through the dog leg, there was no coming back.
And Muhammad Alif is probably tensed up right now. He was in the middle of all of that after being shuffled back to the end of the line. So he's going to have to battle his way up through the field to try and have a great result tonight. Because right now, all the playoff drivers having a fairly good run. Really highlighting Clint Halterman, Jared Kaler. We've seen them in the 2nd and 3rd position pretty much all night. Jake Cummings, Edward Sanchez, 4th and 5th. Drew Williams, Mario Miranda, 6th and 7th. So really, outside of the top 7, you have Lucas Moody sitting in 15th as it stands. And then Muhammad Alif back in 19th.
And we know Alif has got the pace to get up there and run inside the top 3. The question is, does he have enough time to work his way through the field again? That will be what we have to find out here in just a moment. 25 cars remain on the lead lap here with 50 laps to go. All the way back to Ethan Decatur, who will get the free pass with that caution. Tell you what, it's been a pretty banner night for Daniel Nanny. Doesn't matter who's been up there trying to challenge him. He's been able to control the pace of this race from the front. And he's led just about every lap, I believe.
Yeah, and one thing to note, too, is that Clint Halterman really is the only one that's put competition to him this entire race. I mean, he's been, I think, alongside him once, outside of cautions, but on a green flag run, right at the stage break, he was, battling for that 1st position. But we saw in that long green flag run, Danny had just impressive long-term speed. And, if this thing goes green for the last 48 laps, Nanny could use that to his advantage.
Yeah, he's had the advantage on the restarts, being the first car on the inside row, using that curve to his advantage on the restart zone. And then once they've actually gotten going, he's had good pace to match it. Almost won last week at Darlington, came up 1 spot short to his teammate. This week, though, looks like he is all in and is in really good position to try and pick up his first win of the season here as the laps continue to tick away from Phoenix. 48 to go, be 47 when we go green this time by. Cars currently scored multiple laps down and more than likely out of this race. Roger Primo, 14 laps down. Ben Neller, 32 laps down. Zach Tallman and Brandon Schulenberger, both 66 down. Carter Capini down 75 and out of the race. Andrew Burrell down 83 and out of the race. Nick Stockner down 96 and out of the race. So currently about 7 or 8 cars off the track. Another 1 or 2, 1 lap down. The rest here on the lead lap trying to make something happen as we're about to go to 47 laps to go. Daniel Nanny, Clint Halterman ready to let him loose. And the green flag back in the air. The 077 got a little checked up there on the restart. The outside line had a little bit of a tough time getting going, and that should potentially let Jared Kaler take over P2.
Now Clint's under fire from Jake Cummings for the 3rd position. He's already lost out 1 position, trying to make it only 1 in this first lap. As you can see, Edward Sanchez is now falling back a little bit. Now Mario Miranda to his outside, Zach DeWale. This collection of cars can't really get away from each other from the seams of it, as Jake Cummings is now able to pull ahead of Clint Halterman going into turn 1.
Williams here trying to roll that high side, trying to find a way around Sanchez. Side by side they're going to be off of turn 2. Almost a bit of contact there. The 26, though, not able to plug the gap. And now Miranda gets to the outside of the Baruch College car. This is a battle right now for 6th between Sanchez and Miranda. 2 of the playoff drivers trying to track down another host of playoff drivers, with Williams, Halterman, Cummings, and Kaler all ahead of him. So even if you're running in the 7th position right now, you are running 6th amongst the playoff drivers. So that is why they are all battling so hard right now for these spots, because these are all critical points against one another.
And of course, you know, the one person not in the playoffs right now, Daniel Nanny, is trying to play spoiler, trying to make sure everyone has to battle it out next week at Bristol. And I mean, he's doing a good job at it right now.
That he is. He has been virtually unstoppable all race long, pulling out here ahead of the 58 of Jared Kaler, who's got his hands full right now trying to hold off the 95 of Cummings. Halterman and Williams, you see there, running 4th and 5th. They're all right on his heels, too. Oh, Williams hammered the wall. Coming off of turn 4, the 123. Took a shot there, going to lose some time. And he's lucky that didn't break something on the car.
Drew is able to keep that position. You see a little more sprawled out back towards, looks like Edward Onofre and Garrett Vighton maybe for 10th position.
Here they go back into turn 1. Cummings, Halterman, Williams all nose the tail. Fanning out through the corner, the 95 went down to the apron, the 123, all the way up to that 3rd lane for a moment. And he almost opened the door there for Edward Sanchez. The Baruch College machine about 3 inches short of trying to get alongside the 123. Instead, he'll slide right in his tire tracks, and both, I think, him and the 123 actually maybe got a piece of the wall there. Miranda will take that spot away from Sanchez, as now Cummings trying to take away the 2nd spot from Kaler. Oh, Halterman and Williams in the wall. Everyone went up the hill too far.
And like we've seen all race, everyone's kind of following each other's paths, and obviously that's going to happen. You can't, you know, see the exit. Drew Williams definitely couldn't see that exit with all of Clint Halterman right in front of him. So hopefully both of those cars are going to be able to keep on going at the same rate. I don't think it was that hard of a hit, as you see Mario Miranda is now trying to take away Drew Williams' 5th place position.
We'll have to settle back in behind the 123 for the moment. Playoff drivers running 2nd through 7th right now in this group. Moody and Alif 14th and 15th. Positions, though, continuing to shuffle around as Williams almost gets around. Halterman there, got right to his back bumper, now going to try and look to the outside of the 077. And he might be able to make that pass work. He will. And the UNC Charlotte driver going to drop back to 5th. The regular season champ, though, Clemson's Andrew Williams, looking to try and make a late surge here. He's on the back bumper of Cummings for 3rd.
And right now, Jared Kaler's trying to pull away from all of this, but Daniel Nanny is definitely trying to, you know, loving all this action behind him, as he is now 0.7 of a second in front of these battles going on. As you see, Clint Halterman is now under attack yet again from Mario Miranda, but now shoots onto the inside of Drew Williams.
This is the kind of battling you love to see from the playoff drivers, all of them fighting for meaningful positions here late in the race and against one another to boot. When we take a look here at this 123 of Drew Williams, I believe he may have set a CIL record back at Chicagoland for the most laps led in a race that did not end in a win. He led 115 of those 133 laps, but just lost it right at the tail end to the man right in front of him, the 95 of Jake Cummings. On board there with Williams as he tries to track down the 95. He's also got plenty of action behind him as Halterman and Miranda door-to-door behind him.
I think this battle has been going on really for about 3 or 4 laps now. So you can see these two pulling away from him, and now Mario Miranda still on the outside of Clint Halterman. Halterman's not letting Miranda go without a fight, that's for sure. But Miranda's going to use that momentum and get the position coming out of turn 4. Edward Sanchez is now going to try and take on Clint Halterman, diving it into turn 1, getting really on those brakes.
That they are. So Miranda now into the top 5. Halterman running 6th. He's got Edward Sanchez just behind him as well. For a moment there, it looked like Halterman was one of the only cars that had the pace to try and challenge Daniel Nanny up at the front of the field. And now, in just a couple of laps, he finds himself trailing a host of his playoff contenders. Right now, in the 6th position. On the back bumper, Mario Miranda going to take a peek to the inside, looking to get down toward the apron. Trying to find a way around. Nothing going, though, that time by as Bryce Kobler just behind him. Finds his way around Edward Sanchez, maybe. The 26 going to fall back to 9th.
Potentially 10th. Garrett Viton's right there trying to pounce on the opportunity to get the 9th position away, but it looks like Sanchez is able to close that door for the moment being. Halterman's going to take an opportunity, look to the inside of Mario Miranda to get himself back in the top 5. But Miranda's going to use that outside momentum down the backstretch, and now Zachary DeWale also trying to join in on the fun. As you see, this is really a 6-car battle for 3rd, or even 7-car battle for 2nd, even if, Jared Kaler's just in front of this group.
Yeah, and this is the point in the run with 32 laps to go. I think this is when drivers realize, all right, I can't burn up all my stuff right now. I need to make sure I have some tire for the end of this race if this thing stays green all the way to the end. As you see Drew Williams here and Jake Cummings side by side for 3rd. The 123, though, going to lose out a little bit in 3 and 4, running that high side, and maybe opens the door for Mario Miranda. We've been talking all night about how these two cars just cannot get separated on track, and it continues to be the case with 31 to go, and I think they make a bit of contact there in 1 and 2. Miranda on the left side of your screen, Drew Williams on the right side. The Sooner trying to track down the Tiger.
And it looks like the Tiger's going to win on this battle. As you see, Clint Halterman's now all over the back bumper of Mario Miranda. Miranda lost a little bit of momentum, it looks like, coming out of turn 3 and 4. It's going to open the door for both Clint Halterman and Zachary DeWale now, as Drew is trying to look and get away from that little grouping there.
So here we go. Getting around lap traffic there and Wesley Shaw. There's going to be a couple more cars coming up toward the leader here in just a moment. Daniel Nanny starting to reach that point in the race where he's going to have to get by a couple of cars who have not had the pace tonight. So Daniel Nanny leads with under 30 laps to go here. Jared Kaler runs 2nd just ahead of Jake Cummings. And that's where we're seeing this battle here is Williams, Miranda, Halterman, DeWale. You can add Bryce Kobler to the mix as well. He's just off the back bumper there too. And with most of these drivers being playoff drivers, it is all the more critical of these positions. And the other 2 playoff drivers not pictured there. Alif is up to 12th. Moody running 14th. There's more action here. Cummings and Williams. I think the 123 got into the 95 a little bit there off of 2 as this battle continues.
Making their way through the dogleg, both of them electing not to go through it. So you can see Drew is just trying to mirror Cummings right now, trying to run his line and pounce on the opportunity that he can down in turn 1 and 2, hopefully. But you can see Cummings sends it deep and is able to keep a little bit of a gap going through 1 and 2. Now coming down to 3 as Kaler is right there trying to pull away from all these guys.
And they'll be approaching the lapped car of Justin Byers in just a moment here. Curious if anyone tries to set up the 18 to try and use him like a pick. As we make our way into 1 and 2. The 18 just in front of Kaler there. See the 58. Oh, not the opportunity you want to have go by the wayside there. That was not a great place to catch Byers there if you were Jared Kaler. Short change the exit a little bit. Cummings and Williams, though, slide up just in front of them. They'll clear them. And they gained a little bit of time to the 58 that time by, but more notably, the 58 losing distance now to the 30 of Daniel Nenny. That gap 2 seconds with 25 laps to go.
And you can see pretty much everyone is spaced out here going throughout the field. That's, seen throughout that backstretch. It just seemed like a huge line of just cars, and, nobody's really pouncing on any opportunities right now.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. You more or less got what you got at this point. So if you've kept the tires on the car, you should be in good shape. But if you used them up too much in the opening part of this run, you might be in for a world of hurt in these last 20 laps when they really start to fall off a cliff. I think that's kind of the situation these drivers are finding themselves in. They should be good on fuel, especially when they all came down around with 60 laps to go. The question will be just how well are these tires being maintained over the course of this run. It looks like the 30 of Daniel Nenny, they're doing a great job. He continues to open up that lead over Kaler. As Halterman took a peek to the inside of Miranda there for 5th, ultimately had the back out. And these drivers we're watching here, 3rd through 6th, they have the opportunity to make the move for a moment. You see the opportunity present itself briefly, but it's not been a big enough chance to really go for it yet, especially with 22 to go. Because if you don't make that move to make it stick, you're just going to end up really overheating your stuff. And there's still a lot of time left on these tires if this stays green to the end.
And I think every one of these drivers is feeling it at this point. You got to try and figure out, all right, how much do I want to push right now? Do you think, I think for a lot of these guys right now, they're kind of just repeating what everyone else is doing, staying somewhat in a draft in the same lines as each other. So that way they're not, losing out on the guy in front or behind. But it's really not making a difference, as you see Muhammad Alif is now battling his way back into the top 10 with Garrett Vighton. Alif on the inside.
Alif had that penalty on pit road last time by, dropped him to the tail end of the line. We restarted in about the 19th position. He's worked his way back up to 10th, though, and has gotten right behind fellow playoff contender Edward Sanchez in this battle for 9th. It's been a great drive late for Alif. We know that he's good at Phoenix. He's won here twice, and he is putting everything he's got into it right now to try and salvage as many points as he can from this race going into Bristol.
Seems like right now Ball State has probably the best tire, long run efficiency. It seems like Alif is able to pass a lot of these guys without too much effort, especially on these older tires. But I think him and Garrett Veidt were going for a couple laps. But at this point with these tires, that's quick.
Yeah, being able to just make the pass is easier said than done at this point in the run. As you see Sanchez here roll the bottom to good effect. He's going to get around the 5 of Bryce Kobler. Moves himself into the 8th position. Critical point there in his hopes to keep pace with the playoff drivers. Alif, though, steps right out behind him, and he's going to look to the inside of the 5 as well. Alif and Kobler in the battle for 9th. You see the 12 looking to the inside here. In 1 and 2, drives it in really deep. Going to try and find a way to make that move. A little bit of contact between the two.
A little leaning on each other, as you see Alif's trying to get a little bit of a side draft, possibly going down the backstretch, going into 3, sends it a little further, but Kobler sends it even deeper. A little bit more action coming out of 3 and 4.
Boy, gloves are off here between Kobler and Alif. A great battle. And I think Alif is going to try and slide in front of him, and he does. Chop the nose off the 5. Kobler not going to be thrilled with that one, but Alif going to take the spot away, and it opens the door for Garrett Vighton to try and do the same.
Vighton getting a little loose.
Yeah.
Kobler now on the outside of Vighton. Vighton trying to take the opportunity that Muhammad Alif presented him, as Kobler is now falling in the wrong direction, as Vighton's able to clear Kobler coming out at 2. Now Ryan Whitlock and another playoff driver, Lucas Moody's trying to make up some crucial points on the rest of these playoff drivers.
And it's been a really good race for Bryce.
Whoa!
Kobler loses it off of 4. Boy, I couldn't even finish my thought. I was trying to say that sentence that it's been a really good race for the 5. He's been battling with everyone on track, and it's been really, really entertaining. So the commentator's curse jumped out immediately before I could even get halfway through that sentence. So apologies there to Bryce Kobler. Commentator's curse was itching to find someone, and he was the unfortunate target there.
Yeah, the commentator curse doesn't play down here in Phoenix, as you see Edward Sanchez and Zach DeWale now battling it out for the 7th position. DeWale on the outside, Edward Sanchez on the inside. Sanchez is able to clear DeWale and is now setting his sights on Clint Halterman.
Tell you what, Edward Sanchez has made 2 passes here in the past couple laps. I wonder if he was able to save some of his stuff in the early going when he lost some of those positions on the restart. Because it looks like now he's starting to surge ahead just a little bit. Got around Kobler, got around DeWale. Now maybe going to take a look to the inside here of Halterman. Nothing going that time by, but that's also because Halterman's looking to the inside of Miranda. 3 playoff drivers, 5th, 6th, 7th right now as they hit the wall.
And you see Jared Kaler, Jake Cummings now in a heated battle. Cummings getting to the backside of Jared Kaler. This battle is now happening 3 seconds behind Daniel Nanny, so he has a very comfortable lead going into the final 10 laps. But right now, Cummings is trying to make his way around Jared Kaler.
A great battle here between UNC Charlotte and Converse University. Cummings thought about driving it in deep there in 3 and 4, elected against it. So that battle will continue. Just as the battle for 5th is as well between Miranda, Halterman, and Sanchez. Everyone separated by about a car length on track, regardless of where you look right now in the top 10. And don't look now, Brad, but Muhammad Alif up to 9th, and he's right on the back bumper of Zach DeWale. He's actually to his inside. Alif looking to try and taking away the 8th position here from DeWale, as Sanchez looks to take away that spot from Halterman.
We got some 2-wide double file action here as you see DeWale gets a little loose coming out of 4, but both Halterman and Sanchez battling out above the dogleg. Sanchez is going to send it in there along with Muhammad Alif. Muhammad Alif is able to clear DeWale and now looks to the inside of Clint Halterman. Isn't able to keep up the momentum, but is now going to try and look at it going into 3. Halterman's going to shut that door real quick as he's trying to get his position back from Sanchez. And the caution is
out. With 8 laps to go, the caution's out here. Oh, and it was shaping up to be such a run for those positions. I believe it may have been the 43 of Sky Shrek. Boy, that is going to completely change the complexion of this race, because those tires, Brad, are old. And I think we're going to see a lot of people come down pit road.
I would definitely agree with you here, but we're looking at Sky Shrek going through 1 and 2. It looks like guy was on the apron. Oh, a little bit of a barrel check there.
Doing their best impression of Sunday's pace car.
You can see.
So here we go. The leaders all coming down pit road. Fresh tires. Here is the money stop.
And it's going to take a while for them to get to their pit stall, but for a majority of these drivers are going to be towards the front, so they're going to have to go around this bend that is 3 and 4 to get to their pit stall. At times, it's like a blind side trying to find your pit stall. So you see Jake Cummings is diving down to his pit stall now.
Williams into the box. Oh, Williams overshot his a little bit. That's going to cost him some time. Right side's up on Nanny's car, as is Miranda and Alif. Oh, contact there between Sanchez and Cummings off of pit road. And the race off, Jared Kaler won the race off of pit road.
Looks like
the 58 going to jump out in front. It looks like the 30 actually lost a good chunk of track position there. I think it may have been he took 4 tires, and there were some cars in the field that might have only taken 2.
Yeah, I was going to say he lost a ton of positions. It could have been the same for Jake Cummings here. See that up towards the front, currently Jared Kaler, and then Mario Miranda, Drew Williams. Our Muhammad Alif is now back in the top 5, and now Zach DeWale has made it to his top 5 as well. But yeah, our Muhammad Alif insanely making his way back after that end of line. That was the last caution, right?
I believe it was.
Or
something
2
right
cautions
around
ago.
there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
2
but those
cautions
were the
ago.
2 that were like back to back, so he didn't even really
Right.
have a run on that first one. So I'm trying to get a gauge on how this is going to set up. I think this will be a naturally occurring green-white-checkered. I believe. I don't believe this will trigger an overtime green-white-checkered, but I do think with the way this settles out, we'll go racing, I think, with 3 laps to go. So it will be quite literally a sprint to the finish. And for Daniel Nanny, I mean, this has just got to be heartbreaking. He has led basically every lap today and now finds himself 8th with only a couple laps to go. And I know he's on the freshest tires of anyone in that bunch, but that is a lot of cars to try and get around in only a couple laps.
Yeah, and I mean, you said the stat earlier about Drew Williams having the most laps led without the win, but currently I think Danny's going to take that title if he's not able to find his way back to the lead. I mean, he has definitely the most speed out of everyone here, but also short run, I mean, I think everyone's pretty similar. Nanny definitely excels when it comes to the long run, so I think Nanny's going to have to try his darnest to get back up to the lead and pass. I think, is that Jordan Byers? Or wait, sorry, I'm trying to understand what's happening at the front here.
That is indeed Jordan Byers, who either took 2 or took no tires. So the 8 going to try and lead the inside row here for the first time all day. And you got to imagine for guys like Drew Williams, Zach DeWale, Daniel Nanny behind him, that is the immediate, oh God.
Also, Jared Kaler is not anywhere near the lead anymore.
The 50
He's at the back.
drop all the way back to the tail end of the field. I'm not entirely sure what happened. But he's lost a ton of track position. Now he's slowing up even more to let that guy by.
Interesting.
Well, field stacked up. Green flag back in the air. We are racing once again at Phoenix. Here we go. 3-lap shootout to the end.
Jordan Byers on the older tires going to make his way through turn 1. Calamity as you see Drew Williams gets loose.
Around. And he took out Nanny as well. Sanchez, Halterman, all of them caught up.
Oh,
Only
Byers as
around.
well.
The
Mario
caution's
Miranda hits
out.
the wall.
Everyone stacked up. Holy moly. Producer Christian came back just after we went green and then yellow again for the big stack up in turn 2.
Oh, it all started, it looked like, with Drew Williams. Looks like he might have got some help after that just insane restart from everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. First with Drew Williams and Daniel Nanny, and then with Jordan Byers up at the front of the field. I also am receiving word that this upcoming attempt will be the last attempt at a green-white-checkered. And yeah, the 123 just got loose. Caught up a ton of drivers.
Oh, and Byers just, whew.
Oh, heavy contact for Miranda. Most of the playoff drivers have had basically a perfect race today. And now in one fell swoop, 5 or 6 of them with heavy damage.
You can see Drew just gets out of it, gets so loose and is sideways, and you can see just everyone trying to avoid. You can see Ryan Whitlock gets sent around too. There's about 7 wide trying to get through this thing.
And then obviously the incident a little further down with Byers up at the front of the field. It's a tough break for Jordan Byers. Put himself in a position to try and steal a win here today. And even once the yellow was out, just not meant to be. So looking up at the front of the field now, trying to get a gauge on where everything's sitting. I do believe Mario Miranda will inherit the lead, but he also has some damage from that incident. Zach Dewell runs second. Muhammad Alif has rallied back to third. Jake Cummings runs fourth. Daniel Nanny fifth, but Daniel Nanny has a ton of left side damage now after that incident with the 123. Halterman runs sixth. He's got some damage. So does Sanchez in seventh. Then Lucas Moody, what a break for the 13. He has not had the pace really at any point today, but this is about as high as he's run all evening long thanks to that incident. Well, this will be the final attempt at a green-white-checkered. So once they take the green, the next flag, yellow or checkered, will end the race. And for some of those drivers up in the front, this could be the ticket to the championship 4. A lot of drivers talked coming into today about how they don't want to leave anything to chance going into Bristol with how much of a wild card that race could be. Now this race has suddenly turned into a wild card here in the closing moments.
I mean, we've got, I think, really everyone in this top 5 has a different state of car on a different scale of damage. And we saw Miranda had a huge hit along with the Whale. Alif battling back from that end of line. I don't think he has too much damage at all. Cummings, I think, has a little bit of damage. And like you said, Daniel Nanny has a lot of left side damage. So we're going to see who can handle it and if it's going to be game-changing for any of these drivers.
And of course, because of the self-spin, a end-of-line penalty has been issued to the 123 of Drew Williams. And that will probably cripple what was otherwise a really strong race for the Clemson driver and will likely put him behind the 8-ball going to Bristol next week. Jared Kaler, who had the end-of-line previously, he's up to 18th now. He gained about 6 spots on that restart. He'll have one more crack to try and get as many positions as he can to try and get himself back into the mix as well. But up at the front, it is going to be Mario Miranda, Zach Dewell, Muhammad Alif, and Jake Cummings looking for the win here tonight. Overtime, presented by the McConey Setup Shop, your home for setups, paint schemes, and more. Green flag is in the air.
Miranda's using everything he can out of that starting position as he jumps out to the lead, and it's just wildfire back here for second.
Door to door, Alif, Dewell, Cummings was looking up high as well. Everyone out to the back straightaway. Cummings hits the wall. Miranda starting to pull a little distance on Zach Dewell, but the 100 not going to let him get away just yet. White flag now in the air. This one's going to be official. Here comes Dewell, Cummings, Alif, and Nanny. They're all trying to track down the 89 of Miranda. Cummings with a hard drive in the 1 and 2. He'll take away the second spot. Does he have anything for Miranda here in 3 and 4? Driving the line. But it's going to be off of 3 and 4, stealing a second win and third of the season. Mario Miranda wins at Phoenix and punches his ticket to the championship 4.
And we saw it early in the season. Oklahoma won 6 races, make it 7 now on the season.
Mario Miranda was the pole sitter, got turned on lap 1, and had spent the rest of the day trying to put himself back into position, and when it mattered most, was able to get there. Jared Kaler looks to have had some issues on the final lap as well. He will be scored 24th today, 1 lap down, the only playoff driver off of the lead lap. Williams rallied to 16th. The rest of the playoff drivers, I believe, finishing inside the top 10. So we are going to take a quick commercial break, folks. When we come back, interviews with our podium finishers and the results from tonight's Rollo Tony's 150 from Phoenix. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome back, folks. Just wrapped up the first race of the round of 8 here from Phoenix in the Garage Shop College Cup Series. And it came down to the green-white-checkered, where Oklahoma's Mario Miranda got the job done in decisive fashion. Your final results: Mario Miranda stealing one at the line over Jake Cummings, Zach DeWale second and third, R. Muhammad Ali for a great rally back to the 4th position, and Daniel Nanny finishing in 5th today after being the dominant car all race long. The late race caution took him out of contention, but still a top 5 for the 30. Clint Halterman finishing 6th tonight for UNC Charlotte. Lucas Moody 7th. Garrett Vighton in the 8th position for Arizona State. Edwin Onofre 9th. And Auburn's Logan Smith rounds out your top 10.
A pair of Ball State teammates in Andrew Stagey, Kelton Quick finished 11th and 12th, and in 13th, Bryce Kobler, who we saw fast all night from Emory and Henry. In 14th, the 808 of Dylan Godinez from the Pennsylvania College of Technology. And 15th, we have Jason Wallet from Drexel. And 16th, we have Drew Williams from Clemson after those a little bit of calamity towards the end. And I think the back half of this top 20 might have been in some incidents, as Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte. And in 18th, Edward Sanchez, who we saw fast all night from Baruch College. 19th, Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso University, and rounding out your top 20, Ryan Whitlock from the University of Alabama, Huntsville.
21st tonight will be Jordan Byers from Penn State Barron. Took a chance late in the race. Unfortunately for him, it didn't quite work out, but still plus 10 from where he started. Logan Harpine, 22nd. Sky Shrek, 23rd. Last car on the lead lap. Jared Kaler, first car and only car one lap down in 24th tonight for UNC Charlotte. Wesley Shaw, 25th. Justin Byers, 26th. Rest of these cars DNF'd well earlier in the race. Roger Primo, Ben Neller, Zach Tallman, Brandon Schulenberger, rounding out your top 30.
And to continue that list, Coro Copini from Paul Smith College finishing 31st, Andrew Burrell and Nick Stockner from Clemson University in 32nd, 33rd, and Alex Halliner and Nathaniel Crone did not race.
Well, with that, brings us time to talk to race winner for the third time this season. Driver of the 89, Mario Miranda. Mario, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, last time we talked to you in Victory Lane, it was because there was some calamity late in the race and you were in the right spot to capitalize. And lo and behold, we jumped the Phoenix, and looks like situations played out pretty similar here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in Victory Lane. Actually, it's probably been a long time since I've been in the top 5 to be honest. But yeah, I really just happy with the result. I did a couple AFIX, had a buddy of mine take 2 tires, and I know the AFIX setup is different from what we run, but he was able to run within the top 5 for the last 20 laps of that race. So I just had the idea in my mind. I was telling my teammates, late race caution, I'm taking 2 no matter what. If I'm P1 or if I'm P6, I'm taking 2 just to get the track position. And it worked out. Those green white checkers get people really aggressive. Got another really lucky caution. Was able to kind of keep the car clean, and then the final restart was able to run away with it before all the calamity struck.
Yeah, and it ultimately worked out for it. Talk to us a little bit. Obviously, qualified on the pole. Looked like you were going to have the pace to be up front. And lap 1, get shuffled way back deep in the field. And then it was an uphill battle kind of all night long. What was it like trying to have to work your way through the field as this one went on?
It was really rough. I was really happy with myself getting the pole because I knew clean air was king, and I was kind of upset. I was, got a poor initial restart, lost the lead to Nanny, and I was like, all right, I just got to settle in to second and try to get the lead back. I knew the clean air would be king, and Nanny showed it. Nanny dominated the race from the lead. So, but yeah, getting spun by a leaf lap 1 and going all the way back to 30th, it was a really big claw to get back within the top 5, even the top 10. It took me majority of the race to even get to the top 5. And I was about to lose it near the end there. So, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. The dirty air is really hard, and even if you have better tires, it's really hard to pass someone in front of you.
Yeah, and that really did seem to be the case tonight. Once the field kind of got settled in on the green flag run, it was really tough to make a move. You were able to make a couple and seemed like the right ones at the right times, I guess, when it's all said and done. But now, with the win, locked in to the championship race at Vegas in a couple weeks' time. What'll be the approach next week for Bristol? Is it going to just go and continue prep for Vegas, or are you trying to go sweep the round of 8 here?
It would be cool to sweep the round of 8. I really like Bristol. Concrete tracks have like this. I just have a lot of love for them, so I'm really looking forward to Bristol. I just don't have the pressure though. I can't imagine what the other drivers are feeling heading into Bristol with the playoffs so tight. You don't know if you're going to be above or below the cut line, and Bristol's the Coliseum. You never know when you're going to end up in a wreck. You're always side by side with someone. You're always nose to tail with someone at that track, no matter if you're the leader or in last place. So it's going to be nice to race that race for fun, enjoy Bristol as a track rather than trying to race my way into the next round and, take it relaxed and try to have my mind focused on Vegas.
All righty. Well, Mario, congrats on the win tonight. You got to experience all parts of the field, but ultimately got back up to the front. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out here tonight?
Yeah, I would just like to thank OU Esports and all the people out there who support me and all the other teams who tuned in tonight to watch. Also, shout out to our sponsors, Twisted Tech, McDonald's, Computer Connection. They help us run this program. Sim racing isn't cheap, so it's really nice to get that support to really help this program. And thank you to all the Sooner fans out there who are watching. We're gonna be racing for a championship.
Alrighty. Well, we know the first driver who will be a part of that group. It is the 89 of Mario Miranda. Mario, congrats. And not only will we see you next week at Bristol, but we will see you in Vegas running for a championship.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And that is driver of the 89, Mario Miranda, your race winner here today. And as we're doing that, Brad is catching up with our runner-up finisher here tonight, Jake Cummings from Converse.
I'm here with Jake Cummings. Tonight, our second place finisher. Jake, take us through your mindset starting off 14th and making your way up through this field to the second position.
I mean, first off, it is a long time ago now. I did get my driver camera back up. My phone died. I forgot to. Okay, there we go. I forgot to put my electrical outlet thing on, so I wasn't charging and it died. But the start was awesome because that was my worst qualifying all season, which sounds weird because it was 14th, but I'm pretty sure that was my worst one. And I was like, this isn't good. I need to get stage points. But yeah, I guess I Tyler Reddicked it from the race yesterday, minus what he did on the backstretch. And I just sailed it on the outside, nearly touched the wall, but I went 14th to 6th in that one lap, so that was awesome. Then just kind of rode around, and we had all those cautions at the start. I would gain one, lose one here and there, and then sort of just settled into that fourth spot for the rest of the stage. And yeah, this second stage, I guess we call it, was pretty good because I got up to third after a little while, and I was actually really looking forward to seeing how it would go if it ended under green, because me and Jared were looking to have a really good fight for second there, and he was getting away from me in the first stage. So I was thinking, well, I'm kind of cooked here because I can't save the tires as good as the top three, but whatever I was doing differently worked pretty well. So yeah, it was really good. And then, well, I guess the big piece of that pie was the opening couple or the final two restarts. I really didn't think anyone was going to take two because we'd just been on the tires for so long, and I had done some practice with how that feels, and it's not great. Um, and we saw that because everyone was getting squirmy in the dog leg, and we saw what Drew did. A lot of people have done that in the past. But yeah, so that kind of just cleared out the outside. So I just went, I need to gas it up and make up as many positions as I can right now before the caution comes out. So it worked, and then something happened right in front of me afterwards with Byers and someone else, and that helped even more. And then I was the first car on 4 tires, so I really thought I'd have a good shot at the win there. And I think if I had, mhm, if I didn't underestimate how much grip I'd have in the turn one, because I cleared Zach like nothing, and I think if I had set myself up a little better to get a good exit off of 2, still I could have had a shot at Mario going into 4, and who knows what would have happened then. But I compromised my exit trying to overdrive it to clear him. So it is what it is. But I should have a pretty good uh, buffer to the cut line with that, so we can go into Bristol with the not feeling confident because you can never feel confident going into Bristol, but just not feeling quite so weary, I guess.
And that kind of leads me into my next question. I mean, looking back through these last 3 races, I mean, you've had a top 6 here, well, now 4 races straight. So going into Bristol, do you have a great feeling you're going to continue that streak, or how is Bristol on your mind right now?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't think this round was going to be good for me at all because I I guess I got a load cell brake pedal before this season. I think that's helped a lot with the tire saving and the tracks that use a heavy brake. So that's been really helpful. But I've never really done super well here at Phoenix, so I didn't feel very confident, and then qualifying kind of showed that. But yeah, I mean we definitely learned a lot as the race went on and made the right moves. So who knows about Bristol? I mean, you use a little bit of brake there, not a lot. It's a lot more about tire saving than you think, but track position is going to be huge. Qualifying is going to be the biggest determinant with how that goes. So start up front, avoid all the accidents like, what happened at the start of this race, and just be there at the end. I think just finish decently, try to get stage points, and we should be looking pretty good.
Yeah, and you definitely will be having a little bit of a buffer to that cut line, but always, like you said, it's not going to be comfortable when it comes to Bristol. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out here before we let you go?
Yeah, of course, the Converse University esports guys again. I think some of them are watching right now. Massive thanks to them. I haven't seen them in a while. Been kind of busy and no reason to go to campus. But miss you guys. I'll see you eventually. And I'll thank Garrett. Garrett Vighton. He cut me a little bit of slack in the opening stage to help me keep the position I was in to get some stage points. Yeah, that's probably about it for tonight. It's kind of lackluster, but yeah, of course, thank you to you guys as always for everything that you do for the streams and everything. They've really been kicking some butt recently, and yeah, looking forward to the next 3 races with the All-Star race.
Well, have a great night, Jake, and I hope to
you.
see you back here next week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Goodbye, guys.
Yep, have a good one. And we're going to send it back up to the booth with Alex with our 3rd place finisher, Zachary DeWale.
Hey there, Zach. You got a copy?
I hear you.
Hey, welcome back to the podium interviews here, Zach. It was a good run for you. You were kind of hanging in the top 5 most of the night, and then things got a little crazy in the closing couple of laps. Talk to us a little bit about what you were seeing from your point of view and how you were able to sneak your way on up into the top 3 here.
Well, I mean, I think I got pretty lucky getting through that wreck. Taking 2 tires at the end is risky. It's a move I don't like to do a whole lot just because I just don't like the feeling on the car, but I knew if I didn't, I'd be in a bit of a hole. So put the brake bias way forward, trying to tighten the car up, and just tried to keep it way down the track because I knew if anyone had any problems, they'd move up, and sure enough, that's what happened. I mean, Drew got sideways right when we got on the brakes, and the 8 washed right up the track, so I just tried to keep it down as far as I could to stay out of the way of trouble, and we got a little bit of damage actually working our way through there, but luckily it wasn't enough to really slow us down for the last couple laps.
And ultimately, you were able to work your way here into P3, and it's been I don't think you've been here for each race this season. You've kind of been in a few, out of a few, but does nights like tonight give you some reassurance? Like, all right, yeah, it's good to be back up here where I should be running. Up in this top group, duking it out with all the playoff guys.
Honestly, yeah, it gives me a little bit of a boost. Now I can still be up there, still run up front, and honestly, I just needed kind of kick in the pants and fix an attitude to not take myself so seriously. I still want to take the league seriously and be a good competitor and do the best I can, but I needed to kind of take a step back and realize it's not the end of the world. I was getting a little too caught up in it, so it was good to take the break and then kind of come back now. But I definitely want to. I would love to make a more serious return to it next season and try and push for an overall championship. That's definitely still a goal for me.
Well, it is an admirable goal indeed, and tonight, if nothing else, you got the alumni win, so you can pat yourself on the back for that one. It was a good run for you, Zach. Thank you for hopping up here with us. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out here this evening?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, all the OWR guys. A couple of them got caught up at the end there, so shout out to them. Feel bad for them. There's a lot of those guys should have been up here. Clint and Drew definitely should have been up here on the podium rather than me, probably. Probably been a lot better for their points. But yeah, those guys, Emily, Riley, Bill at home, everyone watching. And shout out to you, Alex. You do great work out here. And I had a feeling. I signed up today, and I had a feeling. I was like, man, I'd like to talk to Alex later tonight. And here we are.
Well, I'm glad you've manifested it. I enjoy talking to you as well, Zach. It's been a long time coming once again, and it's
Yes,
always
sir.
a privilege to have you up in the booth. Hopefully, we get to chat again before the season wraps here.
That's the goal, man. That's the goal.
Alrighty, you have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
And that was Zach DeWale, 3rd place finisher tonight for St. Clair College and your alumni winner. And with that, that's going to more or less conclude our coverage here tonight of this event from Phoenix. Brad, any final thoughts here from the opener of the round of 8?
No, I think that really this race is showing a lot of what the short track racing here in the CIL is. A lot of great runs tonight, also some calamity in everything in between. So I think we saw a lot of skill, a lot of different strategies happen tonight, and I think that excitement will go into Bristol
Yeah, I think we're going to see a good bit of that next week as well. So speaking of Bristol, folks, next week, the penultimate race of the season, it is the finale race of the round of 8 from Bristol Motor Speedway, Monday, November 18th. Show starts at 8:30 p.m. Green flag drops at 9. You won't want to miss it. That is where we'll determine the other 3 drivers joining the 89 of Mario Miranda in the Championship 4. You won't want to miss it. Also coming up on the schedule this week, it will be race 11 of the Formula College Series. The Indy cars head to Texas Motor Speedway Wednesday, November 13th. That show also kicking off at 8:30, green flag dropping at 9 p.m. Eastern. The next Collegiate Sports Car Challenge race will be December 5th at Fuji Speedway. You won't want to miss that either, but you got some time before that one. About a month away still. So next week, Monday, Bristol. You're not going to want to miss that. That is the big one, folks. That it will be determining who will still be eligible to race for a championship. And then the week after that is the first ever CIL All-Star race, which is going to be a fun one. You won't want to miss that either, but we'll talk more about that next week. But just a little teaser for everybody as well. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to tonight. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, folks. We've got racing here Mondays and Wednesdays every week through the semester, plus some races on Thursday as well with CSC. Plenty of action to cover all season long. You won't want to miss a thing, so be sure to do that. As I thank the rest of the staff here at the CIL for bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of the Collegiate iRacing League with producer Christian Hill, co-commentator Brad Daniels. I've been Alex Gagnon saying thank you and good night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.